At this time, we will begin our meeting for the evening. The council has a special proclamation this evening. I'm going to ask all the council members to join me so that we can express our gratitude and appreciation for the members of the West School. Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. It's been said that education is really the passport for success. And this evening, we are thrilled to have members of the West School with us to celebrate this amazing mural that was created through the direction of the art staff at the school, but also based on the amazing work of our young people. And so tonight, we have several proclamations because we feel that it's so important for us, for all of you, to witness the amazing talents that are right here within the city of Long Beach. To see our young people engaged in art. We know that art is one of the major ways in which we can communicate our humanity. So it makes all of us whole, and art is universal. And so we are just once again on behalf of the council, we are honored to have the opportunity to present this proclamation this evening. All of our young people who are here tonight, we are so extremely proud of you. We want to encourage you to continue to express yourself through art because we know that art can transform the world. And so tonight I'd like to read a proclamation first to the educators who are part of this great project, and then we will celebrate all of our young people that are with us. The proclamation reads, whereas the city of Long Beach wishes to recognize those who are committed to the betterment of the city and the lives of our residents, and whereas the city of Long Beach does desire to publicly acknowledge the West School for their exemplary work creating the new West School mural in remembrance of the Bottle Cap Wall project located at the West Elementary School on the low wall facing West Beach Street, and whereas upon approval by the Long Beach School District, Yadkin City Manager, and the Arts Council, Long Beach High School teachers as well were hired to design and then paint the new mural on this wall along with some of the high school students. Assisted, once again, we celebrate Denise Collins and all of the other teachers who were involved and the students from West School as well as the high school. This work began in August of 2018 and was completed in May of 2019. This is a labor of love. Now and therefore, the City Council, along with the City Manager and the City of Long Beach, in recognition of their excellent service to our community, proudly present this first proclamation to Denise Collins. Our next proclamation will be granted to Eric Fox. Now I want you to make sure that you celebrate our young people as they come forward. Let's celebrate Mavis Fox. Beautiful. Jordy Perez. Jordy. Great job. Finn Scanio. Will Scanio. James Long. Finn Long. Great job. Alex Paul. Haley DiStefano. Maya Holt. Congratulations. Lisbeth Gomez. Ashley Ruiz. Congratulations. Maggie Swegler. Blake Landbart. Jillian Lerner. Liz Kelly. And Sophia Patera. Okay. Before they sit down, we're going to ask and recognize Eve Hammer to come forward, as well as Patty Bourne on behalf of the Arts Council. Welcome them at this time. Sorry, I didn't know I was being So anyway, thank you all so much for the work that you did on the West School mural. It came out beautiful. It was another wonderful way that you make things beautiful. Sorry, I'm not. So thanks so much, and it was a really great project. And trying to work on more things in the future. You can have some people come to this side. We'll have the opportunity. Before we take a picture, I want to call up, if I may, two members of the Arts Council Board. We have a very hardworking board. We have Wendy Goldsby, who's our treasurer, and our famous president. We want to thank you for being a part of this, making sure that we can find creative ways and innovative ways to express our art, our talent with respect to our community. We're going to take a picture at this time, but we just want to let you know that your hard work has not gone unnoticed. We really celebrate all of you. Can we just celebrate all of our young people once again? Okay, so everyone smile. We're not sure we're looking, but let's all smile. Congratulations, and also congratulations to all of the parents that are with their children this evening. We celebrate you as well, and we celebrate your children. Oh, you're all first. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now I look short in the movie. Beautiful moment. We allow for our young people to enter the building with their parents. They
we will begin our meeting.
We'll have a roll call. Councilmember Diamond.
Yes, here.
Councilmember Ramos. Here. Vice President Bendo. President Moore.
Here.
Let the record indicate the presence of acting city manager Raven Slammer and assistant corporation counsel Greg Tomlinson. We will now have a salute to the flag.
Okay. Councilman Ramos, will you lead us in
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, we'll have a report coming from the city manager's office.
Good evening. The city would like to thank everyone who joined us in the Recreation Center parking lot for the 9/11 Remembrance event. Excuse me, the 18 years since the attack on the site in 2001. We're grateful to everyone who attended to help preserve the memory of those who lost their lives in the tragic attack, and to honor the first responders, firefighters, police, rescue veterans, and military service members. As a reminder, the farmers market and arts in the plaza is back in Tennessee's on Mondays and Saturdays. Shop local produce and artisanal products while listening to great music. On September 9th, the city of Long Beach launched its complete count committee to ensure Long Beach residents are fully and accurately counted for the 2020 census, beginning on April 1st, 2020. The committee is comprised of local elected officials, the Long Beach School District, local nonprofits, houses of worship, the Chamber of Commerce, and civic associations will be tasked with increasing public awareness and motivation to respond to the census. Every 10 years, the U.S. Census Bureau conducts a count of every individual residing in the country. The data collected through the census is used by federal, state, and private funding for healthcare, schools, infrastructure, economic development, community development, block grants, and more. For businesses, it is used to make vocational decisions, what products to sell, and can impact the availability of commercial loans. Perhaps more importantly for everyone, the data is also used to determine elected representation in Albany and Washington, D.C. We only get the chance to ensure Long Beach receives its fair share once every 10 years. We have already increased the census list by over 500 units of new and corrected addresses. An inaccurate count will mean fewer resources for our city for years to come. That is why we need to make sure everyone understands the importance of their participation in the census. Last week, there was a glowing article in Newsday's real estate section shining the spotlight on the booming market in Long Beach. And News 12 aired a great story about the dough hut, with some person visiting the store and trying some of their specialties. New York State is hosting its offshore wind update open house on Thursday, September 19th at Long Beach City Hall, 6th floor, from 7 to 9, offering residents the opportunity to learn about the New York's two recently awarded offshore wind projects and thus discuss how the renewable energy source can benefit all. For a schedule of other events and locations, please visit wing.ny.gov. The 16th annual Long Beach Jazz Festival will be held at the Public Library and 7 of our local restaurants from Thursday, September 19th through Sunday, September 22nd. Visit longbeachjazzfest.com for more information and a performance schedule. FitFest New York will be held on National Boulevard Beach on Saturday and Sunday, September 21st and 22nd from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. World-renowned athletes and celebrity trainers will lead activities ranging from sunrise yoga, cycling, meditation, surfing, CrossFit, boxing, dance, health, and beauty and wellness. On September 8th, as a new mural was painted at the Boardwalk and Monroe Boulevard, it drew a large crowd of residents and visitors to stop and appreciate the process and artist's vision. The Arts Council wishes to thank the talented artist, Juliet Schreckinger, with her message about protecting our seas, marine life, and many others who made this possible. With the upcoming Jewish holidays, we will increase the patrols of our houses of worship to maintain safety.
All right. I'd just like to once again give my report at this time. Again, we say welcome to everyone tonight. We are proud to celebrate the National Hispanic Heritage Month. which began on September 15th and ends on October 15th. This is a time when we recognize the contributions of Hispanic and Latino Americans to the United States and celebrate their heritage and culture. Hispanic Heritage Month, whose roots go back to 1968, was originally celebrated for a week, and it was not until President Ronald Reagan expanded the week to a month in 1988. Celebration begins each year on September 15th, which is the anniversary of the independence of 5 Latin American countries, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. This year's Hispanic Heritage Month theme is Hispanic Americans, a history of serving our nation. Long Beach is proud to reflect on Hispanic American service and contributions to the history of our nation and celebrate within our community. On behalf of the City Council, we express our sincere sympathy to our Commissioner of Buildings, Scott Kemmons, who lost his father last week. Our prayers are with him and his family. Since our last meeting, I want to provide an update on the Open Government Socrata Open Finance platform as referenced during the City Council meeting on September 3rd. I had the opportunity to actually review the Socrata Open Finance Showcase site along with Dave Fraser, J.D. Roman, as well as our comptroller, Eva Resnick, last Friday. The entire council received the update and the link to browse the demonstration site and provide feedback. This platform generates reports that really helps us to establish goals for our departments, programs, as well as initiatives, and then tracks them while simultaneously keeping the residents updated on spending, performance, and progress. We also want to express our thanks to those who coordinated the 9/11 memorials held last week. Once again, Councilman Aramo, Mandel, as well as myself attended the evening memorial, and again, we state that we will never forget as a city. The announcement for the open work session scheduled for Tuesday, September 24th has been posted on the city's website. The session will be held in this room at 6:30 p.m. All are welcome to attend. Once again, we remind you that there is no public comment, but you are welcome to be a part of our first work session. Lastly, the council is in receipt of the acting city manager, Rob Agostini's resignation letter via email. The council is aggressively seeking a temporary replacement. We want to emphasize that the city will continue to remain operational to provide uninterrupted quality service to our residents. It has come to my attention, however, via social media and news media, that there are several concerns regarding the most recent announcement of Rob Agostini's departure and my connection to it. I will do my best in the next few minutes to provide clarity to those who are willing to listen. On Monday evening, I did send a Facebook post to inform residents on Facebook, my Facebook followers, of the most recent events that occurred as it relates to our city. I have openly shared information on my Facebook page for the past 4 years. My only intent was to provide information in a timely manner. The post did not state any decisions or actions that would be made by Lisa Moore. There were still 5 members of the council. It's important also to clarify the series of allegations regarding my whereabouts on Monday afternoon. As most of you here are well aware, I serve as a full-time communications professor at Nassau Community College, but I also serve as the chair of the Academic Senate. This position allows me to serve as a liaison between the college president, the board of trustees, the staff, and the faculty. As last week was only our second week of the semester, I did attend several emergency meetings. What is important for you to know is that I left Nassau Community College after 2:30 p.m. I was not in this building. I was not at City Hall. I was actually picking up my mother at the Hempstead Long Island Railroad Station for the 3 o'clock meeting. At 3:03, I sent a text to the council majority to state that I was headed to City Hall. Why? Because I had sent an email at 8:53 a.m. requesting that a special city council meeting be held on Tuesday, September 10th, 2019 at 7:30 a.m. I was contacted by the city administration that this request was impossible due to construction. My only purpose for coming to City Hall was to verify this, and I did notify the council majority of my intention. When I arrived at City Hall at approximately 3:36, I stopped by the 5th floor, which is customary, and an envelope was left in my mailbox, which contained the separation pay agreement of the acting city manager, Rob Agostini. I shared that information immediately with the entire council via email at approximately 3:36. I left the 5th floor and went to the 6th floor with Commissioner Miranda to review the OEM area and the area designated for the council meeting. We were right in this room and I took pictures. I took the photo City Hall. I sent those photos to Councilman Bendo and Mandel at 4:16 p.m. I did not call the meeting, I did not conduct a secret group meeting, or whatever other allegations I have been accused of in the past several days. The staff here, they leave at 4 o'clock due to the summer hours, which did not change in terms of the hours for effect. Now, once I saw the separation pay agreement, it was obvious to me at least that a resignation was forthcoming. I didn't have to have a conversation about it. The agreement had been requested in the past. Moreover, during the last meeting on September 3rd, the council majority moved to request the documents, and we were unsuccessful. Second, according to news and social media reports, I was also accused of scrapping outside counsel and being complicit in corrupt actions of those involved in payouts. Due to the conflicts that have occurred, and the most recent audit report by our controller, I agree that outside counsel is necessary for the present city council. At this time, however, based on the strategies and the outlined procedures proposed, I did not feel it was necessary to move forward with this firm during the proposed special meeting. This does not mean that I'm against outside counsel, because we all recognize that we need it. It was just that for this particular firm, I was not in agreement at that time. I believe that more time is needed to secure a firm that specializes in municipal law, and is important and it's best for our taxpayers and for us as a council to move expeditiously to see the pressing matters resolved. In terms of outside counsel, you also need to know that I did send an email to the entire council asking if they have any interest in meeting with Attorney Capozzolo, and only one member so far has responded. In terms of a secret meeting on Wednesday, 9/11, I was also accused of having a meeting with Councilman Aramo and Councilwoman Diamond without my fellow councilpersons, Mandel and Bendo. This is also untrue. I contacted the entire city council via email on Monday, September 9th. In addition, texts were also sent due to the lateness of the hour. It's important for you to know that I did not receive any responses or all of the responses from the 4 council members until Tuesday evening, 9/10, at approximately 10:10 p.m. The responses communicated that no one was available to engage in a conference call or meeting until Wednesday evening. Thus, the conference call was scheduled for Wednesday night at 8 p.m. The conference call was initiated with the purpose of including Councilman Bendo, because I was aware of the fact that he was on vacation last week. It's important for you to understand that I was not going to state my position on Facebook. Due to the volume of comments, whether they be negative or positive, it was impossible. First, I've never had my actions questioned in that manner before. In times past, I've always been questioned for the rationale for my vote, but my character has never been attacked in 4 years. As city council president, my vote holds the same weight as my fellow council members. I have not been asked to make any decisions without the council. I have not made any decisions without the council. Since Monday, September 9th, I have emailed in an attempt to address these issues, emails that have gone unanswered or without an official response. Answers are being placed in Newsday and the Herald. The reality is the charter and the code as it stands gives all authority to the city manager. That charter and code was in effect way before Anissa Moore ever came to live in Long Beach. I see firsthand the need to make changes as it relates to the charter, but without 3 council members, we will remain in a dark place during a time when our city needs it the most. Corruption is real, corruption has hurt us and will continue to hurt us. If we move forward, this is not going to be about Anissa Moore taking any credit. This is about the residents, people who are right here in this audience fighting for years, and good people in government working together to make a positive change that benefits us all. Lastly, the city council, according to the charter, can officially take action through a motion, an ordinance, or by resolution. But this is the place that it has to be done, not via social media. We must be able to move the city forward with legislation and policy. The council meeting is the place to discuss and to debate the issues. The council should bring the voice of the residents that they represent and serve with them to this very forum. If the council does not have a voice in City Hall, then this is not a democracy, this is anarchy. I am also here tonight because I believe that when we meet in this room twice a month in City Hall, we are representing the benefits of being a part of a democracy. As a member of a 5-person structure, our responsibility is to speak and to represent those who are right here in this room, but we also have to speak for those who are not in this room, over 30,000 people that remain. And so this concludes my report, and now on to the voting.
Okay, on to the calendar. Item number 1, resolution authorizing the acting city manager to enter into a contract for on-call sewer maintenance services with the lowest responsible bidder.
Okay, at this time, we're going to acknowledge our Commissioner John Moran to come forward.
Morning, members of the council. Good evening, members of the council.
Good evening.
Okay. This is a contract for a requirements contract to have a company come in and TV several of the problems areas where we have sewer lines and determine whether those sewer lines are good candidates for in-place curing. In other words, without open cut replacement. So part of this contract will be looking at some problem areas with intelligent cameras running through the sewer pipes and determining whether the problems can be fixed with an in-place curing method that we looked at trying last year. This would save a significant amount of money. We could have done it on this section over by MLK, but it cost about $40,000 instead of $200,000. So we're hoping to be able to find a couple of candidates this year with this TV, and included in the contract is actual cost for lining, and we would hopefully line a couple of sections at a great savings and be able to solve some of the problems on those sewer lines.
Okay, at this time, are there any questions from members of the council?
Good evening, Commissioner.
Good evening.
When they do the test to see if it's a good candidate, if it's not a good candidate, does it potentially cause damage that now has to be replaced immediately?
No, what they'll do first is they'll use a jet rotor to clean the line out, and then they'll run a cable through the line, hook a camera up to it, pull the camera through the cable, and they'll record every foot of it. What they'll be looking for things are like displaced joints, and even if there's some displaced joints, there's a method within the contract to repair those joints without digging them up. And then what they'll look at is crown corrosion, see if there's any crown corrosion on the pipe. And once they have a feel for the pipe, they can then design a in-place liner for that sewer section.
Okay, so if it doesn't prove to be a good candidate, then
If it doesn't prove a good candidate, we'll have to note that, the line will be cleaned out, and we may have to address it later on with a full, open cut replacement,
but not immediately.
but not immediately.
Thank you.
Have you identified any areas that will be prioritized?
We have a list from the sewer maintenance superintendent, don't have it with me, so I don't want to give any wrong locations. But yeah, we have a list of about 7 or 8 candidates that we're going to look at first. These have been problems where we've had nonstop stoppages.
Recognizing pipe size matters, about how many linear feet can we put from it?
For 100, if we do 2 sections, probably based on the course we got, we probably could do 2 sections that are 150 to 200 feet each.
Okay, so we're really only talking maybe about.
Yeah, we did a small contract this time. We had put 100,000 in the budget just to see how this process works. This is a process that's been around for about 40 years, but we hadn't tried it in Long Beach. And we think it's a good, a good test to try something. If it's successful, we'll probably try to bid a larger contract next year.
Will there be any issues? I know we have problems in some areas with undersized lines. And obviously the ID will.
Right.
Unless, well, I know there's the other type which will expand and burst the old pipe, but I'm assuming this is just a line.
It's just a line, but now we get you excited about manning formulas because the smoothness will be better.
Sorry to be engineer here in this folks. But so there should be a problem with the ID.
No, if a mean is undersized, that would not be a candidate for lining. It would be a replacement with a larger main.
Any other questions from the members of the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll open this up to the public. Questions? Anyone, any questions? Yes, recognize Mr. Lester.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Roy Lester, Long Beach. Our budget basically in Long Beach for the sewer department is, about 4.2 million? And we we spend about 800,000 on manpower to, I'm not talking about water pollution, which is other money, about 800,000 for salaries and stuff. How come we can't do this ourselves? I mean, this has been around for 40 years, you said, this technology?
Okay, who's going to come up and answer, address the question?
The whole process is they design a liner that has a two-part fiberglass components in it. The liner comes in frozen in a truck, so you need a freezer truck. And what happens is with water pressure, you want to fold through a manhole, you want to fold the pipe or the liner through the manhole with water pressure, so it unfolds what's inside the existing pipe. When that happens, you then take a boiler and you boil the water, you heat the water up. When the water's boiled, the two fiberglass components come together and harden. They then have a special machine that goes inside the pipe, and wherever there's a sewer lateral that hooks up to the sewer, there's an indent from the pressure. That also has a camera on it that goes up to that lateral, spots it, turns it, cuts the divot out so that the lateral is now hooked up to the sewer, so there's no lost time in terms of people not being able to use their facilities. So it's a fairly quick process. The equipment's very expensive to do this. We, one, do not have the equipment, and number two, our people do not have the expertise. In addition, the outside sewer people, just so everybody understands, they not only take care of the sewer line maintenance, but they also take care of the stormwater drainage and the stormwater pipes. So they do more than just sewer maintenance.
Can you stay right there? Do you have another question, or are you satisfied?
So it's all planned to hire them every year to do this?
If providing that proves to be successful.
So we have budgeted 200,000 for each year for the next 4 years to do this. And it was supposed to, I remember when we were talking about the initial lining of the sewer, which Ms. Miranda said would help us. We wouldn't have to replace the lines, we could line them. When we first went in, we got about 10 feet and the pipe collapsed. And then we said we went the other direction, we got about 10 feet and the pipe collapsed that way too. How much cheaper is this really going to be than replacing? Which we might eventually have to do anyway.
It is tremendously cheaper. I mean, it would have been $40,000. The process did not cause the collapse on that. The collapse existed. That main was being bypassed already. We were trying to see if there was just a breeze in the way and trying to put breeze out of the way. So it would have been $40,000 to replace that line versus a little over $200,000.
Okay. All right, I'll take another question. I think it's fair to say that this is something that we need to continue to look at and work at as a city. And I think obviously some of the suggestions that you made, Mr. Lester, we can take that into consideration in terms of future outcasting.
Yeah, I'm just concerned going outside, we're trying to take care of our own maintenance and stuff like that. We're talking about a lot of money, $4.2 million. We're talking, and I'm just talking, remember in sewer, there's water pollution and there's sewer. And just the sewer, and we have, I understand 33 miles of sewer pipes, is that right? 55 miles of sewer pipes. And if it's costing us about $100,000 for 100 feet, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, but you have to remember that Nassau County's going to be taking over our sewer system in a few years.
Can you just check your microphone? I'm not sure that you're hearing that.
Nassau. There you go, sorry, it was turned off. Somebody's trying to tell me something. Nassau County's going to be taking over our sewer system in a few years. So right now, this is basically keeping our system up and running until Nassau County takes ownership of it.
So that's the purpose. My understanding was Nassau County was not going to replace our pipes. You're telling me they are?
I'm not telling you, Nassau County will take ownership of the system.
So
It will be then
will,
up to them to decide if they're going to replace the pipes.
so they will take maintenance.
Correct.
Okay, because my understanding was they were not. All right,
All right,
they are. Okay.
they are.
And how many years are we talking about?
Right now, the plan is by 2022.
Okay, you can just say that in the microphone so the people in the back can
I'm
hear
sorry,
you.
yes.
Right now, the plan is by 2022, the county will be taking over the entire sewer system, including the collection sewer system. You know, one other thing I failed to mention, one of the biggest problems we have because of the high groundwater here and a lot of cement pipe is ground erosion. And because we have high groundwater, we get a lot of leaching of groundwater into the sewer pipes, which then adds to the cost of treatment. So over the past several years, since we've replaced about 10 miles of sewer pipe, where we do these complete road projects and where we replace sewer mains, we also cut out the infiltration from groundwater. As a result, the typical amount of treatment we've been doing at the plant has been reduced from about 5 million gallons a day down to 4.2 million gallons a day. Each one of these lines that we do like this will eliminate more additional inflow, which will also save the treatment. And the county's going to have the same interest in doing that also. So we do two major projects where we replace water mains, sewer mains every year. And the county has spoke with us, we will work with them to coordinate our capital projects so that when we're doing a water main and a complete road project, just like we do with National Grid to replace the gas mains, they will come in and replace the sewer mains. And they will have an incentive to also do things like lining and replacement of pipes so that they can reduce the amount of treatment they need to do with Bay Park.
Okay. Last question, Mr. Lester. Some other people who have hands up.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, so I just want to make sure I have it straight. So we have, right now, we have about $3.1 million set aside in the capital funding for sewer improvements. And that includes, in the year 2024, 2023, 2022. So that money will not be necessary based on Nassau County?
That's correct. And some of that money is for hazard mitigation, which is FEMA money. And some of that money will be, we're working with FEMA right now to switch that money from being used for hardening to harden the new pump station so that it will reduce the amount of cost to the city in terms of the turnover to Nassau County.
Thank you. Great questions tonight.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Sonia? Questions from the public? Okay, I guess that question was answered. Okay. Mr. Delory?
Good evening, Council. Mike Delory, one quick question. How has our nitrogen levels changed since Brady Risk Management has entered? I know there was a goal to get them reduced, and I don't know if this is the time to ask that question, if it can be answered. Thank you.
Actually, with the changes that we just recently made in the treatment plant, the improvements for the primary settling tanks and the sand filters, and we have reduced our nitrogen discharges to allow the limits by DEC. We will not meet, one of the reasons for the county taking over the flow is in the future, we will probably not meet new ammonia standards for nitrates out of the thing, but we have significantly reduced the nitrates with the improvements that we made at the treatment plant. How we collect the wastewater is not really, it does not really have a big impact on the nitrates.
All right. Any other questions? Yes, Dina Fiore.
Might as well stay up here.
I just have one quick question.
Okay.
The hiring somebody to look at sewer laterals, right, or to work on the sewer laterals?
No, that has nothing to do with sewer laterals.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with sewer laterals, so those are
Servicing,
back.
servicing the line, so we have Brady, the
Please speak to the
residents,
microphone so the
the
people who
residents
watch.
have Brady risk, if they're paying for it. Working, we don't have any conflict of these people doing work on city lines where the Brady risk might affect them from a homeowner standpoint. We're not gonna see any Brady risk being null and void or work being done for the residents.
No.
They have any problems. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I understand.
No, it will not, and in addition, even after the county takes over the plant, Brady Risk will continue to provide home services for the sewer laterals.
Great question. All right, seeing no other hands, we're going to move on to item number 2.
Item number 2, resolution authorizing the acting city manager to enter into an agreement with an animal marine construction contractor.
All right, so, you might as well take a seat up here.
Just come up to me. This
Commissioner Miranda.
is my last time.
Those items really aren't related to any of those.
You're really-
This is our annual marine contract. We've been holding an abeyance to award it so that it could go out close to the North Shore Bulkhead project. This contract will cover several areas. One, it will replace and repair some Tyflex valves and add some new Tyflex valves. It will repair and replace deteriorated bulkhead on public land. And in addition, with the North Shore Bulkhead, there are many docks and purposes on the bulkhead that they're going to be replacing on our property where private citizens have built. Those people will be asked to move their docks. And when they if they do not do that, we have to have a means of removing it for the contractor, because we cannot spend the ghost of money on that portion of the project. So what will happen is in this contract, we will remove any place docks or materials that need to be moved for them to put the bulkhead in and reinstall them at the homeowner's cost, and the homeowners will be billed by our contractor. They can also voluntarily use our contractor or the bulkhead contractor to remove their docks, what have you. We will look at areas that weren't included in the North Shore Bulkhead project, and with this contract, which will cover 2 years and have some renewable years, we will use more capital money later on to continue replacing, public bulkhead that's needed.
Okay, so how will this be communicated to the residents?
We've already held a meeting on the North Shore Bulkhead with all the residents that live along that, and now that the contract has been bid, we've received bids, and actually got very good bid results. The contract came in about $1.5 million under the engineer's estimate, and we are waiting for those to final approval to award. Probably at the first meeting in October, we'll be asking to award that contract, which is about $9.9 million. Once the contractor figures out his schedule, we will have another meeting with the residents along with the contractor to go over his timeline schedule and what items are going to have to be removed.
Questions from the members of the council?
Does the contract include the labor and materials, I guess, as well?
Yes.
Okay. So again, I'm assuming it's not unlimited work. I mean,
No,
there's a lot of work that
It's a requirements contract, so we put just items in there based on quantities that we think there might be over the next couple of years. So the total bid for the contract, so we have a way of comparing it to other bidders, was about $2.9 million. We're actually only awarding it for this year for $1.5 million worth of work. And if there's not that kind of work out there, we'll put it towards more replacing bulkhead.
Regarding the Tyflex valves, because we don't have a preventative maintenance program for them, we've had issues where they get clogged up and don't work. So, putting new ones in, again, without a maintenance program, we're gonna wind up with Tyflex valves that are just stuck open. Are we looking to do something to address that?
Yes, we are. That would be part of our sewer maintenance group's responsibility. Rich Shue from the building department gave me an opportunity to go out on his boat with him and inspect all the existing Tyflex valves. And what we found is the existing ones that have duck-bill valves that are internal work the best. They tend to close when they need to close. And we have these other valves, especially on the larger outfalls, you'll see they almost look like a hand sticking out into the water, and they fold up like a glove. They're getting held open all the time. They get very stiff. So we're going to be looking to replace those with internal valves. Again, once, when we have a large, fairly large group of sewer maintenance, it's really a lot for them doing both the sewer maintenance and the stormwater maintenance. So, once we're not responsible for maintaining the sewer systems, we'll be able to do a lot more there.
And I guess, I'm not sure if this is for usually 1-year extensions. Doesn't say.
I mean, I would need to look at the contract, which I don't have in front of me.
Generally, what happens is they will come back to Public Works and ask if they want to extend the contract at the same rates,
Right.
the contract.
No, I mean, who in the city approves the extension?
Well, we would do a resolution and ask the council to approve the extension.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, that's what we've done in the past.
Resolution?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Any other questions from members of the council? Seeing none, we'll open up the floor for our residents. Yes, Mr. Dean?
I didn't have a question until he said he inspected the valves for the storm things that go out of the bay. And obviously you found some that are open. So why would it be a priority to replace those? Because if they're open, they're not doing the job of stopping the flooding from the street, which inadvertently causes the flooding in the sewer drains. So if you do that, literally, you're helping the sewer system, not the drain system, even though it is helping the drain system. And you're also preventing the floods that are destructive to the street and the cars and everybody else that drives through Long Beach. So I would think that the replacement of these flapper valves, whatever you want to call them, is of priority, especially when you're thinking about sewer mains in addition to the maintenance that you described, which is also very important. So I think you have to put those things at the top of the list.
Okay. All right. Do you want to respond or just provide some clarification for?
I mean, the response is pretty simple. We couldn't start replacing until we had the contract in place. So, I mean, it's not something that we have the equipment or capability of doing. So now that we have a contract, hopefully will be awarded tonight, that would be one of the things that the contractor will start working on.
Okay, that helpful?
Just to be
Quick
sensitive.
comment, sure.
Perhaps I heard it wrong. It sounded like a replacement of the flapper valves in the storm drains was not a big important thing because it was going to be addressed after we got rid of the sewer system in Nassau County. And that's 4 years down the road.
That's not what I said.
Well, I understand that.
What I said is once there's the turnover and we're concentrating just on stormwater, just have a stormwater system, we'll have more time to do maintenance on it, regular maintenance. It had nothing to do with replacing the valves. The valves being replaced have to do with awarding this contract.
Okay, is that helpful? All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dean. Another question, Mr. Lester?
Does this only have to do with the North Shore bulkhead project? So it handles some of the east bulkheads like Huron, the Heron Canal and stuff like that?
Well, the North Shore bulkhead will be replacing the bulkheads on Huron and on Doyle. We're not replacing the bulkhead in the North Shore bulkhead contract because there just wasn't enough funds for the third canal, but we will be doing some work there to improve that bulkhead with this contract. So this contract will be beyond, it's not just about assisting the North Shore bulkhead contract, it's about other normal marine construction work that we have during the year.
So we'll be handling that east side of that canal.
We'll start handling as much of it as we can. Obviously, it's going to be, each canal was about $3 million, so it will be similar. So over a period of time, we'll end up doing that third canal with that contract.
But the question is, North Shore bulkhead was a higher height because of the storm.
What Mr. Lester said was the bulkhead contract for the North Shore bulkhead is being put at a higher elevation to be base flood elevation set by FEMA. Any new bulkhead work we do will also need that base flood elevation.
So when you replace bulkheading on the Huron Canal, some of the bulkheading that has to be replaced will be higher than this neighbor that doesn't have to be replaced.
We're not replacing private bulkhead, this is only the
The
public,
other side.
the only the public bulkhead,
Yes,
correct?
the east side, so it might be different heights.
Yeah, and we'll replace it in an orderly fashion, so as we replace it, we'll be putting it on the base flood elevation. Doesn't make sense to replace a portion of it, not.
But from an aesthetic point of view, you're going to different heights. Okay, and, I'm sorry, one last question, sir. In that area, you said that there are private docks. I did not know private docks were allowed off of city bulkhead. Is that correct? Mr. Kalinsky, I think you would know.
You'd like to give us some
Sorry, what was the
information?
question, sir?
Private docks allowed off city bulkhead?
Are they allowed?
Yes.
I think the canals neighborhood has had an interesting evolution. I'm not sure that, I wouldn't know offhand if permits were obtained, but I know we have a unique situation there where we let people, at some point, I believe it was in the 1970s, after a special assessment to the neighborhood, use that
We
property.
used to get money from them every year.
Yes, we did.
And
And
you don't do that.
we, I think it stopped sometime in the late 90s when I looked at the file. It was a very nominal amount of money.
500,
What?
500 a year.
The determination was made by somebody back then to stop collecting it, and since then we haven't been collecting it, but allowing people to use that property.
But there's nothing, as far as I know, it's not allowed, but nobody enforces it. Is that correct? Or you don't know?
Is what not allowed?
Private docks
I
off
know.
of city bulkhead.
I'm not sure if there was ever any permits issued for that. I would need to look into it. I'm not sure.
All right, if you could, just.
So we'll follow up with that, and we'll try to get that answer for you during the next meeting. Okay, any other questions from the members of the audience? Questions? Okay, seeing none, we want to move on to item number 3.
Item number 3, resolution authorizing the acting city manager to enter into agreements for auto body repair services for city of Long Beach vehicles on an as-needed basis.
We put out a bid for auto body services, and we received three bids, and we're gonna award all 3. So we have flexibility based on their availability. And it's pretty straightforward. We have a car accident, but then, they fix it.
All right, are there questions from members of the council? Questions? All right, we'll open the floor to members of the public. Yes.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Shooter to 25 West Broadway. I'd like to note that this language is very broad to enable the city manager to make such decisions in an as-is basis. That's very broad. Considering our city manager has resigned, that gives him immense power to take care of the cars as he wishes with this language. And I hope that you can reconsider the language to be changed to that inspection, insurance should inspect the car, and if it's necessary, and not a cosmetic damage, but an actual physical damage that inhibits the car's mechanical activity, that then the city manager can indeed go into a contract to repair. But this is very broad language for someone that we have nobody in that position at this time.
Well, first, thank you. Thanks for the comment. Thank you for the suggestion. I'm sure legal can also speak to that issue. But in the meantime, another question that comes out as a result of what you just posed to us, if we can speak about the nature of the repairs and who will actually benefit from the repairs. Do we have any information with respect to the kinds of repairs that we're looking at?
That would be any repairs that would be needed during the year. If there was an accident, if the car was unable to be used, it will be fixed. As a basis, so if there is something wrong, we can repair the car.
Can you define repair? Because it sounds like, somebody can get a key and just scratch the car and that's a repair. That would cost a lot of money if it's done purposely versus an accident where an engine is damaged. So that's very, like, again, it's very broad language.
If I could just answer the question, I had asked a couple of questions, and I want to thank Commissioner Morales for answering some of them for me earlier today. It's my understanding that a lot of the work that's done under this contract is particular to body shop type work after cars either in an accident or something happens to the vehicle. Much of it is covered by insurance, which would alleviate some of the concerns that you have as to whether it's needed. So generally, you get a quote, your insurance adjuster will come and review whatever it is that has happened to the vehicle. So that was my understanding, that a majority of the work that's done under the contract is for that purpose, particularly the auto body, the painting part.
Yeah, this is work that we cannot do in-house.
Also, we have a garage that deals with all of that.
They don't have the auto body, they don't have the team, we have the auto body work.
But isn't that a frivolous waste of money if we have an auto garage and if we have insurance that covers it? Why should we give the city manager this authority?
Well, much of the work that's done at the garage, told them, my understanding is the repair of the vehicle. I think that body shop type of work is a different type of expertise and training than an oil change and tires and transmission and mechanics and whatever. I don't fix cars for a living, but I think that it's a different type of expertise to paint and repair the body of a vehicle. And it's my understanding that that's not something that's either cost effective to do in-house or that we have the ability to do. At least that was my understanding.
Okay, so we're gonna hear from Commissioner Ryan, just to just focus back to your questions that were raised.
This contract is just for body work, from accidents and insurance work. We don't do this in the garage because there are many, many environmental regulations to do this. You need paint booths, you need special equipment to make sure that you're not releasing VOCs into the air. So to set up for the few accidents that we might have during the course of the year that require a body shop to do the work, the cost doesn't make sense. It's much more economical to send them out to a body shop.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your questions tonight. Are there any other questions from the public?
I wasn't finished.
Would you like questions?
Yes, consider, yes. Again, the language is too broad. It says as needed and as necessary. This is a completely unnecessary for our city who has a credit rating of two notches above junk, and we just bonded, a few million dollars in the last meeting. This is extremely unnecessary. We have a body shop already, and, cosmetics. I don't think anyone here can put cosmetics on what's going on in these cities' finances. This is very broad language. It's unnecessary. We should be saving money, and it's very broad language, especially for a city manager, giving authority to the city manager that is not in power. He is officially now, but he's not here tonight, and he is leaving officially on October 1st. Giving him this power at this moment is extremely uncalled for and unnecessary, and it hurts all the taxpayers in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. So noted. Who's next? Fiora?
I understand that we have to outsource it because we don't have the ability. So my questions are, I think it should be pretty specific as to what vehicles are part of this. I'd like to know, I know this question has come up numerous times in council meetings, and I think it's been foiled before, that we have a list of the city's fleet. Who has that, who is in those cars? Are they all necessary? What is the damage? Do we have an idea of what we're looking at right now, of what the fleet looks like before we start doing all kinds of repairs now that we have a contract? So maybe we should have an idea of what we're talking about. I know you talk about when it's an accident. I understand that portion of it, but is this gonna open us up to, saying, okay, I've got dented doors, I've got dented bumpers, I like to send my car out for an overhaul, et cetera. So I think we should have a good idea of where our fleet looks like now, who's got it, who's in it. And the other part of it, I would like to know, I know there's a lot of people in the city who, some rightfully so, have company cars. And we don't necessarily, they're 24 hours, they're on call 24 hours, but we have a number of people in the city driving city vehicles. What percentage of those vehicles are being used in an city time, and are we paying for those damages and those repairs that may or may not be covered by the insurance, but we do have deductibles, et cetera. So I think, to her point, I think the language needs to be clear. I think we should also have an idea of what our fleet looks like before we open up the can of worms and say, we're gonna start repairing and painting everybody's cars for what we do. And maybe some of those people should have a car, or should be proportionately, maybe part of, I've had company cars in the past, in my old experience, we've always paid, you have a company car, but you may have to pay a percentage, 80% is job usage, 20% is personal usage. So before we put a stamp on something, maybe we should ask those questions.
Okay, well, thank you, let's see if we can get some answers. In terms of, she's raised very good questions in terms of the legality, in terms of are we as a city required to repair cars for someone who is, I guess, off hours? Can you just speak to that issue?
I mean, I wouldn't have that answer for you right now. If it's a city-owned vehicle, you know, and there's damage to the city vehicle, typically the garage fixes it. I mean, that's about it.
How do we repair vehicles now that body damage?
They go to the shop, and if it can be fixed in-house, it gets fixed in-house, and it's up to the director of garage operations to decide if it goes to a subcontractor.
Okay, so do we already have contracts in place with body shops?
We can, 2016, the council passed the resolution awarding bids for the body shops.
Okay, so these will replace those?
Yes.
Okay, and do we also have an estimation with respect to the savings? Are there any cost savings here? Can anyone speak to that? Right. Okay, I see we have another hand. Lester?
We've had this procedure for several years. How much have we spent last year?
Okay, so no, we don't have the information at this time.
So you're voting on something and you have no idea how much it's gonna cost the city?
Well, I just asked that question in terms of cost savings.
No, you asked about cost savings. I'm asking how much are we spending on these contracts? You're about to vote on a contract at 3 different places, and you don't know what it's gonna cost.
Yeah, that's why it's as is.
We have the price that they charge us.
No, how much have you been spending each year on that?
That information I don't have on me right now, but this is in case a car accident happens, we can get the vehicle
I
repaired.
mean, you have 575,000 as a line for vehicle repairs. That's not counting these contracts. It's a lot of money for repairs. And as somebody pointed out, there's an awful lot of cars out there. I think you have over 200 vehicles, city-owned vehicles. And to be fair, I'm counting the lifeguard vehicles too. But 200, that's a lot. I just think before you vote on these things, you should know these things, but that's just, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Any questions? Okay, item 4 has been pulled for this evening, and that means we move to item number 5.
Item number 5, resolution to reschedule the 2 regular council meetings in October and the first regular council meeting in November 2019.
We moved the upcoming meetings to Wednesday to accommodate the holidays.
Okay, so there are 2 items here with respect to the October meetings. This is so once again that we can be respectful of the upcoming Jewish holidays. Right, are there any
And
questions?
also election day.
And election day. Are there any questions from the council? Okay, and there's a question, Ms. Studo? Open it up for the public.
Hi, thank you. I'd like to be very respectful in my comment now, since it entails religion. I'm Jewish too, and I understand that Kumi is Orthodox Jewish, and she has the freedom of religion, so does everybody here. But also that anybody, that you don't have to be Jewish, Christian, Hindu, People can be of different faiths, and everybody knows that there are shades of our faiths. And just because we individually under the Constitution, where the Constitution says, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, that does not mean that the city council cannot conduct its business free from religion, and so that you can keep the work that you're supposed to be doing here. Our water is still brown, and I understand that, if Kumi wants to take off, then that she's absolutely allowed to, just like I am allowed to take off anywhere if I'm working in the United States because of our great Constitution. But that does not mean that the city council shouldn't be doing the work that it's supposed to be doing, especially since there is going to be the first couple of meetings that the city manager will be officially off the job. So it's imperative that the residents are aware of what's going on with.
Let me just stop it for a moment, I just want to clarify. We're not skipping a meeting, what's going to happen is instead of meeting that Tuesday, we're going to meet the next day. And that's all, it's not, we're not going to in any way miss a meeting, it's just making sure that the next day we come in. So no time is being lost, but also it's important for us in terms of having a meeting, if we have a meeting on a religious holiday, we want to make sure that the public has access to the meeting as well. We want to be respectful for everyone, it's not just one person. And we've done this on a yearly basis, I can only speak from the time that I've been here, since 2016. We do this every year just to make sure that we maximize the amount of people who are in the audience. So we thank you for your statement, and we thank you for being open, having an open mind with respect to the celebration of holidays.
Thank you. It just didn't say so in the agenda that it was the next day. It said it was postponed.
No, it says it was next night, but it's not just for our council members that are of the Jewish faith, there are more than one, but it's for residents as well, so that residents can come, free from their celebrating their holiday on the next day. So it's not just about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if I could just reiterate for clarification purposes, as Councilwoman Moore, President Moore, said, this has actually been a practice in the city long before I was on the city council. Jewish holidays in particular tend to fall on different days of the week, depending on the year. And it has been a practice to move them one day over. This was noticed on the calendar as well at the beginning of the year, and there was a discussion as to, and in particular, this item is not only to accommodate our residents who observe the Jewish holidays, but it is also to accommodate Election Day. So I just want to thank members of the council for clarifying that it wasn't just directed for me.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments with respect to item number 5? Seeing none, we're going to move to item number 6.
Item number 6, resolution authorizing publication for hearing of an ordinance to amend the code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach regarding water and water distribution. Publication only. Hearing will be held Wednesday, October 2nd at 7 p.m. We will now move on to the voting. Who will introduce and move the adoption of item number 1, resolution authorizing the acting city manager to enter into a contract for on-call sewer maintenance services with the lowest responsible bidder?
I will.
Who will second? Councilmember Diamond?
Yes.
Councilmember Ramos?
Yes.
Vice President Bendo?
Yes.
President Moore?
Yes.
Who will introduce and move the adoption of item number 2, resolution authorizing the acting city manager to enter into an agreement with an annual marine construction contractor? Who will second? Councilmember Diamond?
Yes.
Councilmember Ramos?
Yes.
Vice President Bendo?
Yes.
President Moore?
Yes.
Who will introduce and move the adoption of item number 3, resolution authorizing the acting city manager to enter into agreements for auto body repair services for city of Long Beach vehicles on an as-needed basis?
I'd like to make a motion to table this until we find somebody.
I'll second.
Councilmember Diamond?
No.
Councilmember Ramos?
No.
Vice President Bendo?
Yes.
President Moore?
Yes.
Motion fails.
Motion fails.
We call the item again, we can actually, on the floor, we can motion to change the language. We are,
We have to call it again, right?
we do have to call again, but we can motion to change the language.
We can vote it down.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem is we don't have the answers to some of the, the savings, the costs, and it's manual costs.
Well, I think that some of those issues can be resolved in a follow-up email, but I think it's been made clear by the commissioner that, and the individual sitting in the acting city manager's chair, the acting city manager, because this is a necessary contract. It's on an as-needed basis, and to the extent that there are questions with regard to savings and how it's used, it doesn't alleviate the fact that bids were sent out, and we need this service to be provided for our vehicles.
I think we're all in
Just call it
agreement
another
that
day.
we don't, no, I think we all agree that we need the services. We're just trying to get some additional information so that we can make sure that we're making the right decision. And also, obviously, it's important for us to have all of the information. So I think, again, I strongly urge that we reconsider, when you call the vote once again, that at least we could have some additional time to gather the information that was raised, the questions that were raised today.
I'm just concerned that there's gonna be a gap in coverage as far as body work is concerned, and we're gonna have, perhaps important vehicles.
Okay, hold on, no.
We're gonna have important vehicles sitting that are trash, that are unusable by the city workforce. If we want information, we can supply information, but it's very clear that this is a needed service. We've had it since 2016.
We're not saying that we're not going to support our workforce in terms of this. We're just asking for additional information. I think we need to make that clear. Commissioner Moran, do I recognize you at this time?
So to point out several things about this and coming up with the cost. First of all, our city garage has mechanics. They do mechanical repairs to our trucks, to our cars, to our maintenance equipment, whether it's a backhoe, payloader. We do not have anybody that's a bodywork person. So without knowing the cost right off the bat, number one, we have to hire someone who knows how to do body work and painting of cars. Okay, or painting of any kind of vehicles, we have to know how to do body work. We then have to start getting into the business of ordering replacement parts like fenders and bumpers and things that have been destroyed in an accident. Then we already have a garage that's outdated, okay? We don't really have room in that garage to place a paint booth and the proper ventilation equipment to remove any VOCs that would take place during the painting of a vehicle. So we can sit there and we can spend the time and come up with all these costs, but these are periodic repairs. These are repairs that happen as a result of an accident where we have an insurance company come in and do an adjustment, whether it's an insurance company that represents us because we might have been involved with the accident, or if it's an insurance company that represents the person in the other vehicle that caused the accident. Okay? So these are periodic things, so the insurance covers it. The city manager is only signing the contract, approving the contract. Okay? The superintendent of the garage, he looks at the pricing we get from the various vendors. He'll go out to all three of them, get the pricing for the body repair or whatever the damage from the accident was. He'll compare the prices, and he'll verify that all those repairs are actually needed to keep that vehicle running. So we certainly can go back and spend another 3 weeks getting all these costs and going, but practically we can't do it. We can't put a spray booth in that garage. There's no room for it. We can't put the ventilation that's required. I think, I'm more than happy to find all these costs out, but really, this is the way we've done these periodic repairs.
I think you misunderstood. The question was, the council is being asked to vote on a new contract for body work. That's not the dispute. The dispute is, how does this compare to like what we were paying before? We don't have any numbers to say, okay, service X costs $100, now it's gonna cost $90, or it's gonna cost $120 now. that's what's missing is the financial information.
That's not what it sounded like from what some of the questions I was hearing from the public.
Well, that was.
If that's your question,
Question.
that's easy enough to find out. And, you know, I don't have those answers tonight because this is not one of the contracts that I handle. This is handled strictly through the purchasing department on an annual or a biannual basis. So I'm sure they have those numbers compared, so we can get those for you.
Right, so we went through the procurement process to find these three vendors. We have their pricing as far as how much they're charging. And, you know, really going back and comparing prices isn't gonna lend anything new to this contract here. We went through the procurement process. This is the best deal we were able to secure for the city. And like I said, my concern is just you're gonna have city vehicles sitting there and we're not gonna be able to service it.
If somebody came to me at my office and asked me to approve a contract without giving me any pricing, I'd fire them.
Let's just go the item. Can we just call it? Let's just call it, let it fail and move on. No.
Who will introduce and move the adoption of item number 3, resolution authorizing the acting city manager to enter into agreements for auto body repair services for city of Long Beach vehicles on an as-needed basis. Adam. Who will second? Councilmember Diamond?
Yes.
Councilmember Ramos?
Yes.
Vice President Mendo?
It seems to be a misperception that we're just here to rubber stamp things. I'm sorry, that's not why I'm here. No.
President Moore?
Again, I just really, if we were able to have a report from last year, then we can have some numbers to figure out how many vehicles are required of this body work, and unfortunately, we don't have that information this evening, and so once again, I'm going to.
Who will introduce and move the adoption of item number 5, resolution to reschedule the 2 regular council meetings in October and the first regular council meeting in November 2019?
I will.
Who will second? Councilmember Diamond?
Yes.
Councilmember Ramos?
Yes.
Vice President Bendo?
Yes.
President Moore?
Yes.
Who will introduce and move the adoption of item number 6, resolution authorizing publication for hearing of an ordinance to amend the code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach regarding water and water distribution?
And I will.
Who will second?
I will.
Councilmember Diamond?
Yes.
Councilmember Ramos?
Yes.
Vice President Bendo?
Yes.
President Moore?
Yes.
We will now close the meeting. Who will make a motion to close the meeting?
I will.
Who will second?
I will.
Councilmember Diamond?
Yes.
Councilmember Ramos?
Yes.
Vice President Bendo?
Yes.
President Moore?
Yes.
Okay, now on to the welfare portion of our meeting. While we are preparing at this time, I just would like to just review one of the items based on last meeting, since during our meeting, our last meeting, a group of residents came forward to address the status of the medical pavilion and the zombie property. I did contact South Nassau with respect to trying to have some kind of group session where we can have conversations between the two civics based on the concerns that were raised during the last meeting. It was proposed that a group session would be held with the civics, and I did contact South Nassau. Due to the pending lawsuit, I was told that South Nassau is not available to meet at this time. South Nassau estimates a meeting could be possible in the middle of October. So at this time, I will keep you updated, because I will continue to ask for a time when residents can meet with South Nassau to discuss this issue. But please feel free to contact me directly or email me if I can get any of the other questions answered for you while we wait to come together as a community to have a conversation with South Nassau. Secondly, there was a question with respect to why is East Bay Drive being closed between Lincoln and Franklin. And I just wanted to read a response that I received. Again, as I have the information, I will share it with you. It's my understanding that the building department, in conjunction with the police department, permitted the closure of the road primarily due to the safety concerns. The road had to be closed for many reasons. One reason, there are approximately 12 water mains going into the Flora Hospital building that needed to be shut off, and the water shutoffs were located in the roadway. Additionally, there was no reason for the traffic to utilize that portion of the East Bay Drive, as there are no residents or offices being utilized adjacent to that portion of the street since the closure of the hospital. I'm just sharing again the information that was given to me. I will also share it with the members of the East Home Civic, as well as the North Bay Canal Civic, and also those members who are on State Street who are not present in the meeting tonight. And I just wanted to give you the information that I was given. And at this time, forward, this way, other side, okay? All right, we'll hear from Barbara Mosta.
Good evening. Good evening, Barbara Mosca, 25 Neptune. See, before I go, Anthony, this is for you. You weren't here last time I was. Okay, a year ago, this council requested the New York State Financial Restructuring Board to provide us with a comprehensive review report. We have that report, 41 pages. We received it in June. The report's purpose is to make recommendations for improving our financial stability, management, and the delivery of public services. The FRB can offer grants and/or loans up to $5 million for undertaking certain recommendations. My suggestion, as it was the last time I was here, is making review of this report mandatory reading for all management, top management, plus suggested reading for residents, especially citizens who regularly attend these council meetings. In particular, the FRB recommendations address the fire department, police department, Magnolia Daycare, employee timekeeping, and shared services. The FRB recommendations are as follows. Long Beach should consider resizing the police department to more closely align to the IACP, which is the International Association of Chiefs of Police model. The second recommendation is the city should seek labor and healthcare efficiencies. Grants may be available to help Long Beach in the next round of collective bargains. Their next recommendation, the city should further study cost savings strategies at the Magnolia Center, taking into consideration the needs of the community, employees, and taxpayers. The next recommendation they made is to bring employer timekeeping into the 21st century, since we still use paper. Shared services mean municipal services shared by Long Beach, Town of Hempstead, and Nassau County. Their summary is eye-opening. My opinions, which is different than their recommendations, is that we should, or the city should, consult with the Garden City Fire Department, which recently terminated paid fire protection. Secondly, the city of Long Beach pays annual headquarter taxes to Nassau County Police. My opinion would be to conduct an in-depth study of expenditures and services of the Long Beach Police Department. Police and civilians will not be terminated, but rather transferred to other precincts. This is an opportunity for Long Beach and this city council to have $5 million savings and/or grants, and also have savings when you look at all the details of this. I gave you all a copy of this 2 weeks ago, and I hope you look at it, have you?
Yes. And, first, again, as I said last time, we thank you for taking the time to actually prepare the report. We apologize that we did not have a response for you this evening. However, we will have a response for you during the next meeting because you've taken so much time and care to share the information with us and to actually make another trip to come back. So I will make sure that we have something prepared for you during the next meeting. You've raised some excellent issues and questions, and we will make sure that you are given the opportunity to hear from us in terms of our response.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We'll hear now from John Fagiodakis. Was that close?
Hi, John, River Beach. My question this evening is regarding the concession on National Boulevard. I know the discussion was tabled back on July 2nd. I was wondering if the council had any updates on when this matter will be reviewed again.
Okay, so, obviously, yes, this is a major issue for us. It is a priority. We will address this, so you're not going to be left in the dark before the end of the year. We had some other pressing matters, and we were not, at the time, we did not have the opportunity to address it. One of the purposes, the reasons for the work session being held next week is for us to begin to look at some of the issues, that were not covered during the season. There were several, and some of the reports and some of the other comments that have been made are some of the issues that will come up, and we will make sure that we will address this issue in a timely manner for you. And we also thank you for your interest in being a part of the concession. Thank you. Now, at this time, we'll hear from Mary Molasevich.
Mary Molasevich.
Good evening.
You addressed some people's concerns at the beginning of your meeting tonight, this morning, and you addressed them from Monday through Wednesday. But as I understand, there was a meeting on Friday, the three of you, who agreed for council. Excuse me, there was a meeting with three of you, and Mr. Gross was there, and you agreed for a resolution to be written up, and you called for a meeting Tuesday, and you were to inform the city clerk. Okay, that's where a lot of this confusion is coming in, that you took it upon yourself without consulting with the other two that you had this meeting, that you wanted the outside counsel to not meet it because Mr. Axtisi gave you a resignation. I think that's where a lot of this is coming from, and quite honestly, I don't understand it myself without conferring. You didn't like being left out of things when Mr. Arama was president. And it seems it's happening again, and it's very disheartening.
Okay, so let's stay right there. So your question was about the Friday breakfast, the breakfast with, Councilman Bendo and Councilman Mandel.
Correct.
Yes, I do not deny that I was a part of that breakfast. So whoever's here and whoever's watching, yes, I was a part of that breakfast. During that breakfast, there was some information. We were told that a resolution would be drafted by Mr. Gross. I was aware of that, and I was in support of that, all right? When the first round came out, because I did send out the message on the Monday requesting a meeting, we were still together on that. However, when it was the second round and our first request was denied, and another message had to go out to the council, and Mr. Gross was CC'd on it, it was the second go-round where I decided not to continue with the process.
But that was it.
Hold on,
I-
that was when.
You just said it though.
Yes.
I decided.
Right, because
They're
you
my
need,
people.
no, hold on, because
Sorry.
you need 3 people to move that
Correct.
forward.
Correct.
Everyone that's here, and obviously Mr. Mandel is not here, but all members of the council were a part of that. The only thing I did was rescind my initial, statement, that's all. When that happens, that means that we do not have a council majority of 3. So it wasn't that Anisha Moore said there's no meeting, and because she said there's no meeting as the council president, that there was no meeting. You need 3
Okay.
people.
I understand that, and
Okay.
I believe Mr. Bendo and Mr. Mandel, who's not here to say anything, I believe they were backing that resolution, okay? And then you decided by yourself that you didn't want to go further to protect the taxpayers and have them look at what was going on here. I just don't understand it.
So I think we separate the two, we have to separate the two. There's one, which is.
No, let's all together.
Okay,
Mr.
but that's what the problem is, we're putting it all together. There's one,
It
there's
is
a
all
resolution, no, there's a resolution, right, and then there's.
The resolution
in
is
terms
full.
of practice. So what's being said now is that, for whatever reason, because I'm the council president, when I decided to say no, that it had a different weight.
Okay, let me just ask the question. Mr. Bendo, did you know it was gonna be full?
Of course not.
Okay, you can't answer. Ms. Diamond, did you know it was being full?
Just for clarification purposes, I wasn't invited to a breakfast, nor asked to participate, nor did I speak
So you
with,
didn't know?
nor did I speak with, hold on one second, I'm answering your question. Nor did I speak with Mr. Gross, nor did I support the item that was passed around or calling a special meeting.
Okay,
All right.
Mr. Ramos, same question.
Okay.
Okay, all right,
So
so
thank
you did decide to go. That's all I'm asking. Why? You didn't like being
No,
left out,
no,
and now you are doing
exactly.
it.
And I'm still being left out now because, again, there's information that's going out there without me, so it's the same. But again, all I'm saying to you is that there
I know,
has to
Mr.
be
Rose.
there has to be three people to move it forward. So it's not me making the decision. They had 2 votes, they didn't have another one. That's all. But I thank you, and I
But
think
you
I
are the
clarified
third
your
one.
question.
You are the third one. It was just the
I
two.
was the third one. That's what I'm saying.
So that's three.
Three, right.
But then
So when you pull me out, that leaves 2, and that's not enough to move the resolution forward. All right? Leanne Baker?
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Thank you for allowing me to speak, Madam President, council members. First, I wanted to say thank you to President Moore and Councilman Mandel, who's not here. A couple weeks ago, I spoke before most of you.
Can you move a little closer to the mic?
Oh, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
All right, sorry, I didn't get my big girl voice. But I wanted to thank you at the last council meeting. You had stated that you were going to meet with me, as Councilman Mandel did, and you both did meet with me. You came regarding the road safety in the President Street area on Walnut. And I wanted to, one, thank you for taking time to come out and meet with me and see the unsafe road conditions that are there. I'm really glad that we have police here tonight, and the reason why is I wanted to also stipulate, I had a list of questions. Sure. I know I have to collect a petition. I've already started speaking to my neighbors regarding the road safety and unsafe conditions. We don't have a speed sign. People speed up to 50 miles an hour down Walnut from Roosevelt to Maple. You witnessed that, some of that when you were with me, President Moore. The other issue is people do not stop at the stop signs. Again, you were there as Councilman Mandel has witnessed as well. You know, and I've seen our police, and I appreciate the extra presence that we've been getting. What I'm asking for the officers, we have 2 of them here, if they could speak to their colleagues, because one of the things I've observed is as the police approach the stop sign, especially if you're going, I think on my direction west towards Roosevelt along Walnut, it's ideal to stop before the stop sign, the stop line, about 1 to 2 feet in front of it. You don't go past it into the crosswalk. And the reason why I state that is it gives you a really good view of the entire intersection. So as people are proceeding to either make a right turn from Roosevelt to Walnut or speed across Walnut to hurry up and catch the light on Park, you're able to catch them not stopping at the stop sign. And you're also able to catch the ones who are coming from Park down Roosevelt towards Walnut, and you're catching them not stopping at the stop sign. So that is something I would like to see. And the question I have is, do I also have to collect a petition to have a speed sign implemented, because I would think that speed would be from a surveyor, not us residents saying, I think 15 miles an hour is a good thing, let's go for it. I think it has to be surveyed by a professional to evaluate that. And the other question I have is, who do we need to foil? Because I would like to know exactly how much it costs to put those signs in along the other streets where they say 15 miles an hour. How much is it going to cost to implement a street sign? And we would need a bare minimum of 2 for Walnut. You're going to need one when we're turning off from Maple onto Walnut. You need one, I'm going to try to hurry up. And you're going to need a speed sign when they're coming off from Roosevelt. I also would like to know what's going to be the cost to have a survey to implement 2 additional stops on Walnut. What will be at Coolidge, and another one I would recommend at Belmont. That way it prevents people from escalating in speed along that street. Additionally, I want to add to that cost with a FOIL request. I want to know how much it's going to cost for us to put in raised stops, at the stop signs along the white line. That way it will slow down vehicles who are escalating or running the stop sign. They have to go over that bump. And additionally, what else I want to know is, I want to mention the domino effect is you have more people riding their bicycles on the sidewalk because of unsafe road conditions. They cannot ride their bikes on the street, which they're supposed to do. And I've been looking at all the fines and penalties. I've actually started reading all the ordinances within our city. So I'm learning very quickly what our penalties, fines, and everything are. So the question I would have is, it's a domino effect, and the bicyclists on the sidewalk is creating unsafe conditions for pedestrians with small children, people walking their pets.
So I had the opportunity to, obviously, stand there for a while, and within less than 5 minutes, I witnessed 8 people just going through the light without even stopping. And this is a serious concern, and I'm sure if I ask people who are sitting out in the audience, they're experiencing the same thing wherever they are, whether they're on the east side or west side. This is a major issue, and enforcement has to be something that we address. But let's just go through the process for a moment. Then we'll speak to the petition, what's needed in terms of the petition, and where the petition can go in terms of moving this forward with the neighbors who are on Walnut.
I mean, if this is an issue of the traffic signage, you should have that conversation with the police department, because they're the ones who place the traffic safety signs.
Okay, sir, if I can respond to your statement, please. I left a voice message for Commissioner Kathleen. Am I saying her name properly?
Second.
Okay, and the young lady returned my call. I forgive me, I think her name is JB. And she said she was the secretary to him. And I asked her about submitting petitions for the speed sign and regarding the elevated stops. And she said I had to go to Public Works. So I contacted Public Works. I spoke with somebody by the name of Chris. She said she never heard of it. She was going to talk to her engineer. Someone would call me back. I never heard back from anybody. So that's why I'm asking, who can I submit a FOIL to see what your actual policy and procedures with the city is, so I can follow them appropriately? Or if they're failed or flawed, we can talk about a correction.
So first, I'm going to leave us your information today so that we can follow up with you. We will get back to you in terms of the voicemail and all the other information, because it seems like you're going in a circular motion here. We want to make sure that we get some answers. We'll do that. Also, if you can just, when you make a FOIL request, and when you also have some of your other concerns, if you can send that email to us, or you can send it to me, I can forward it to everyone else, and we can start working on the process for you.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. See Ms. Kathy Williams. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Mrs. Kathy Williams. I have observed the city council and other operations in Long Beach for over 50 years. I have never seen it in such shambles as it is now. And I do want to back up to say you're doing a credible job, but it's the attitudes that's going to destroy all of us. Listen, can you hear the residents and generations to come? Please for a transparent and non-biased city council to bring back good government to the city of Long Beach and their children. It is impossible, and I repeat, impossible, to hold down each other and not get down there with them. You don't have to go home with each other at night to live, but you do have a job to do. You have been appointed by God and elected by the residents of this community. And you must, I plead with you, I spoke to some of you last year, you have to learn to get along and put the city of Long Beach first and foremost. You have to do that. You must do, otherwise we're all going to fail and go down, and then number 5, tornado or hurricane come in and just wash us on away. We have to do better than we have been doing. Mind you, you will reap what you sow, and it won't just stop with this generation. It'll go on and on and on. You all bright, college-educated people, if you think you can see that everything I'm saying to you is true. I don't have a lot to say about the infrastructure as of now. A fool can see that we're in bad shape. But you must concentrate and get along.
Fred Abelson, Long Beach. Kathy Williams, you stole the show. Thank you. I just want to echo a little bit about what Kathy said. And I don't want to sound critical because I've sat up there. I've sat in the same chair as you, Anissa, so I know what that feels like. But there's been a lot of conflicting information, and the conflicting information is coming from Newsday, Facebook, and you, Anissa, and the rest of the council too. So I think that leaves most people really, really upset. It leaves a lot of room for a lot of rumors. Nobody knows anymore what's true, what's not true, who stands with whom. I sat on a council where I would say most of us actually like each other, that you can't always have that. But just like Kathy Williams said, you need to figure out a way to get along. You need to figure out a way to tell the truth to the people of Long Beach. They deserve it. And that's really all I just wanted to say. So thank you for listening.
Thank you. Nora Egan? You pass that to Nora Egan. I'm not gonna give a chance to see that again.
Nora Egan. Okay, so I have 2 things to bring up. Jeff Sharon returned his check on September 6th. Who received the check, and was it from his personal funds or was it campaign funds, and did he pay any interest? And where exactly was that check deposited?
Okay, at this time, I'm going to recognize our controller. If you'd like to come and sit here. You're welcome.
I may say it.
Good evening.
Yeah, check was delivered to my office by, former city, manager's wife. And it was his and his wife's personal account.
So this is from a personal account, okay? If you can, and if you just give from that wireless mic so we can hear a little bit clearer, because we want to make sure there are a lot of people who are listening, live stream, we want to make sure that they have that information. Thank you.
Is this done?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay. So yeah, the check was received by me, the check was hand delivered by, Dutch Shansman White, who showed up here in the afternoon and wrote his personal check that was written on their joint account. Amount of check is the amount that was mentioned in the draft audit report.
So no interest.
Was it
No
any
interest? No, we didn't send him an invoice, we sent us a voluntary check based on the.
And which account was this deposited? Where did you?
Okay, can you just ask your question? Yes.
Where did you deposit the money into?
Where?
Mine were in terms of which bank, into the operating account of the city.
Okay, so this went into the operating account for the city.
It went into the operating account of the city, and it went to the account that we call miscellaneous, report of the prior year expenses. Okay?
Do you have another question?
I do.
Okay.
But not right now.
Remember, okay, all right, thank you, Ms. President.
So my other, point that I was gonna bring up was about the ISDC agreement, which I'm sure everybody knows that I've been foiling along with numerous other people for over a year and a half. I think I submitted over 12 requests for it. I went down to city council, to the third floor this morning, and was told, you know, that they were not, basically, if such a document exists. So I'm actually very happy, Lisa, that you handed me ISDC's agreement. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Vita Fiore. Good evening.
How are you? Couple of things, it was great to
Just state your name for the record, I'm sorry.
Dana Fiore, Long Beach. It's great to hear that you're all having an open meeting on September 24th. I just want to ask a question because we have a hard time getting here for a city council meeting. Are every one of the city council members going to be in attendance?
When a meeting was scheduled and people were advised of the potential dates, I made it clear that I was at a conference in Washington DC that week for work and would not be able to attend. I made that clear to all the members of the council probably about 3.5 weeks ago when the date was proposed.
She did.
I just, because there are people that will want to go, but it would be disappointing to go there. We've seen 3 people. The next question, will it be our acting city manager or our acting city manager?
That's a
Or
good
our
question.
corporation council or our acting corporation
I'm
council?
gonna
or
have to
our
say,
co-corp
stay
council, sorry.
tuned for that piece. I'm gonna say, stay tuned, you'll see. But in terms of the meeting, we'll be there. The residents will have the opportunity to hear us have conversations with respect to reports. And we'll receive reports, but at this time, I can't really say. But if something is to happen, we will communicate that on the official Facebook page from now on, so that everybody will have the same information.
Good to hear. Good step in the right direction. At the last city council meeting, and I haven't checked to see if it was posted anywhere, but, John, you had asked that you get a year-to-date budget, versus the actual, where we are on financials. They were supposed to come back to you within 48 hours. Did you get them?
I did.
Did.
How do
We all did.
We all did, the
Okay.
entire council.
How do they look? Don't answer, I know you can't.
Hang on to the work session.
Okay, that's what I'm hoping. And the other concern is, I think most of you know, I spent a significant amount of time here at pool. But I have very grave concerns, 2 days this week, and it's more probably from a legal aspect. On 2 occasions this week, there was only 1 lifeguard on the pool deck. I don't know what our requirements are for staffing levels to have people in the pool with 1 guard on duty. I know that the deep pool had to be closed because 1 guard can't have 2 pools, but I would assume that we should have two guards on duty at all times. So I didn't know if there was a staffing issue, I didn't know if it was a budget issue, where we don't have the money to pay for extra staffing, et cetera, but, it's a little more than concerned to have 1 guard on, or.
Do you want to have any information? Do you
So,
have any information on it?
So there's nothing from a financial budgeting.
It's a safety issue.
No, there's nothing from a financial that would prevent it, but it's got to be a staffing issue.
I'll look into it and get back to you.
Okay, and I made a notation as well, thank you for the question. Mindy Delbar. Good evening, how are
Good
you?
evening. Mindy Dufford, Long Beach. I have a question for Mr. Miranda. Last week, there was, not last week, 2 weeks ago, there was a discussion about roads and the general fund. I want to just ask you, Mr. Miranda, about the curb and sidewalk, the rehabilitation citywide, the reconstruction, the cost of which is going to be $150,000. Can you just discuss what kind of rehabilitation is going to happen with the curbs and sidewalks? And if you are going to be making any of them more accessible, like the curb cuts and everything? Can you just talk about that a little bit? Thank you.
Property owners are responsible for the curb and sidewalks in front of their homes to replace them themselves. What that money we use for is when we do construction work, where we might replace a water service, replace a sewer service, we then reconstruct that sidewalk or that curb. This also for like the main parking areas where we do put in when we do access curbs and intersections. So this is spread out through the city, it's no one particular project.
So are the for the side, for the curb cuts have those, those little, what are they called, the bumps? Because some of the curbs in the east end, the west end have those bumps, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know.
Those are the ones that have been recently replaced with
Yes.
tax value.
Yes.
But as we replace them, that's what we do, we add those to. There's many existing access curbs that don't have them, they're much older.
Right.
But when we do replace one, we do add the tack mats.
So my situation is there's some curb cuts right now that are extremely narrow, which is very difficult to go up when you're on a walker. I notice people struggling on wheelchairs and of course mothers with strollers. And there's some, of course, that have really, the slope is really dangerous. I tripped and fallen a couple times at the west end, not drunk. So I just want to make sure that this doesn't happen.
I thought you didn't invite me.
I mean, I just want it doesn't happen again to me, because when I saw this, I'm like, wait a second, you're gonna be rehabbing the sidewalk and the curb.
If you can give me a list of those locations you're concerned about, I will sign to a street department.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you for your question. Roy Lester.
Hi, Roy Lester, Long Beach. And as reflecting on something John said, I run an office. If we ran out of paper for the copier, somebody would really be in trouble. You plan ahead. I cannot believe that tonight, and this is exactly what I heard, if that resolution isn't passed, we can't get the cars fixed. You didn't know ahead of time that you had a 1-year contract and that 1 year was expiring and you waited till the very last minute to put it on the agenda? That's disgraceful. That is really no way to run the city. And the other thing, and John, I appreciate what you did, but voting without knowing the cost, that you even thought about it. And Anthony and Pumi, that you absolutely wanted to go ahead without knowing the cost of what you're voting for. Our money, you said, go ahead, let's vote for it. Then I also heard that the insurance covers it. So if insurance covers it, there would be no cost. But that's not what I heard. When I asked the cost, if insurance covered it, I would have heard there is no cost. But no, we didn't hear that. So in other words, it was something that you didn't prepare for, you didn't know. And I'm not blaming you, John, in this, because you, as soon as you realized it, said, whoa, this is not right. And yet the rest of the council and the people sitting there wanted to push this forward. The fact that you waited till the last minute is disgraceful. That's no way to run a business. Okay, that's just on that. Now, I also have to ask about the outside counsel that was hired to look into the audit. We're paying $4.50 an hour for that, as I understand. Okay, and you were gonna hire, somebody from Ingram's office at $2.75 an hour? What, is that correct?
Ingram Smith, but I have no information with respect to the cost. Councilman Mandel, who's not here, was really in direct communication.
Well, the number was $2.75. And, we've worked with them before, John Gross and Chris Venator and stuff like that. And, they're a good firm. But why are we spending $4.50? Why are we spending $4.50? Why do we even need to respond to the audit? Why are we trying to defend ourselves on something that's indefensible? It's our money, and yet we're continuing to spend that money. I just don't get it. But anyway, one other thing I have to say, and you know what? You guys gotta be careful. Having a breakfast meeting with 3 people, blatant violation of the open meetings law. I'm sure that's not what the intent was, but you have to be careful with that. It's just not allowed. Finally, the benches on the boardwalk. I went through them the other day. About 40% of them are broken or cracked. The material we're using is not working. And what are we replacing them with? The exact same material. It just doesn't make sense. And finally, bike lanes on the boardwalk. Nothing has been done to mark them except those stupid signs that people run into all the time. Thank you.
Well, hold on now, I know that the bike lane situation, obviously, we're not going to resolve that right now. It's on the pressing list along with Moby Max and all of the other issues. However, in terms of the benches, we did provide an update with respect to the benches, probably 2 meetings ago, and you were not here for that meeting. So, once again, Miranda.
That last meeting, that was the only meeting.
Oh, I missed you twice. I look out in the audience, I know where you are. Mr. Miranda, if you could just speak to the benches while you're standing there, just to give an update once again, so that you can have that information.
The hack had a nice article, and yes, it said that they're being replaced. And you guys said that only about 300 were.
Right, but I wanted to talk about the way that the bench is being replaced, because we did make some revisions with respect to how the bench is being done. So if you can, Commissioner Miranda, just explain that a little bit in terms of the difference between the benches that were, the existing benches in comparison to what's going to happen with those that will be repaired.
We had a count of about 300 benches that needed to be repaired, and we repaired about 75 of them already. We had to do them early in the morning before the boardwalk got crowded, because we were bringing equipment up there. We were ordering slats, but we're looking at, one of the problems is these are not breaking from vandalism. Some of these benches were underwater during Sandy, and the material kept brittle. A lot of people are doing their exercising on them, we have people running on them, they have a cantilever over the ends, people do push-ups on them, and when they start to get fatigued, that's where they break. I have a sample up in my office along with the company to take a look at. We're replacing the slats that are broken with the same slats, so we don't have a bunch of mismatched benches. So, but we are looking at spreading the legs out on the benches, so there's less cantilever. By creating less cantilever, there'll be less, bending on those ends, so you won't get fatigue, and hopefully that'll solve some of the problem. But people really shouldn't be running on them, skateboarding on them, jumping from bench to bench and doing push-ups off of it. They're just not made for that.
Okay, all right.
And just, by the way, on the bike lanes, I did send a memo out to all the council members asking us to do it. We did get a great recommendation from Allison Blanchett on the type of sign that we use that's DOT approved, and I've been looking at it. I think it will solve a lot of the problems. We've tried some paints, they just wash off, so we do have a solution. It's going to be a little expensive, but I think it will work in the long run and be good signage for most people to understand. But I also think we need to have a committee of walkers and bikers and come up with some ground rules I mean, we have people on there on the busiest parts of the day racing their bikes at 90 miles an hour. And I don't care how many signs you put up and stuff like that, little kids that aren't being watched by their parents are gonna wander into their bike lane. So we need to have some ground rules also.
Okay, thank you. Did that answer your question, or do you have another question?
The only thing I have to comment on is the back of the benches are cracking. And nobody goes on them, nobody does exercises on the back, it's the material.
Thank you. All right, let's hear from Sarah Montanesi. Before you begin, did you have two students, what do you see? It says your name twice, I. Good evening. Good evening. State your name for the record.
Sarah Montanesi, Long Beach. My question originally was for Mr. Mandel, but he is absent once again. So my question will be to Mr. Mandel.
Talk to the mic.
Can you hear me in the mic?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Originally, my question was for Mr. Mandel, but he is absent today. So I will direct the question to Mr. Mandel. Mr. Mandel, sorry. Mr. Mandel, you made a comment on social media, which kind of stood very openly. You made a comment from you and Mr. Mandel. In your comment, you left President Moore out of this. You said, in order to protect the interests of the Long Beach residents, we believe the council should immediately act on the following items. You listed the items. I have not heard you once this evening bring those items up. I don't know if you're going to, but I'd like to know if this is going to be something you are going to bring forward, or was it just something you decided to post so people can talk?
Well, the reason that was done is, there was an expectation that some stuff was gonna happen, and it wound up not happening because it didn't have 3 votes supporting it. So, we got recommendations in the state auditor's report about starting to take corrective measures on things. And Councilman Mandel and I had discussed things, and there comes a point where lack of action or looking the other way transitions from just that lack of action to complicity. Because if you know there's a problem and you choose not to address it. So we felt it was necessary to make a statement that we at least would like to start taking corrective actions.
But we at least was only you and Mr. Mandel.
Correct.
Excluded President Moore. Wasn't it a team member thing that you're supposed to be
It
doing?
was,
It's not supposed to be excluding anybody?
It was, but Councilwoman Moore had made a decision that she didn't feel the timing was right to take some of the actions that we were going to do at the special meeting. We felt the timing was right. So it was just a difference of opinion, and we just felt it was necessary to
Make an empty statement, because here we are and you have not.
well, I can't, I mean, we can't do anything without 3 votes, so.
That's what Councilwoman Moore was saying all the time.
Right, the Councilwoman Moore withdrew her support for the special meeting where some of this might have been addressed. So that's the point.
Your resolution said to terminate Mr. Agassi.
Correct. That's it. Yes. And I still believe that.
Okay, so do you have any other questions?
Okay.
All right, because I think it's clear that, there is a difference of opinion, but that doesn't mean that we're not all saying the same thing.
Okay, that's what I want to make
work
clear.
on
We all
that.
need to know that we're working together.
Okay, thank you. John Dean?
Thank you, John Dean, Long Beach. I just would like to piggyback on the young lady from the East End that talked about a traffic problem on Walnut. I too have had a traffic problem on the West Park Street from New York to Nevada. I've been told many times by people here that I have to go to the traffic department, the traffic division, and they will do a study. And when they go to the traffic department, the traffic division, they say we can't do anything unless the city council tells us. So, you know, it's a little bit of a circular motion here. And so I think the city council has to realize that nobody anywhere in Long Beach is going to do anything unless the city council directs them to do so. So I ask you, just as the old lady has pointed out, come together, 5 people, we gotta say kumbaya around the campfire or something like that, maybe just, I don't know. As long as on the traffic study, I've asked this board for a response from the study. I haven't received anything, but I still think the city council is ultimately responsible because Ms. Ford said West Park is owned and operated by the city of Long Beach. You can tell Nassau County, we want traffic control on every two-way street. You can do it. You're capable of doing it. All right, as far as those flapper valve things, now that there's a topic of conversation now, I've lived on the corner of Arizona and Park since October of 1971. I'm aware that up until 1992, every time there's a high tide, that corner flooded. After the 92 storm, they did some rebuilding on West Park, and they put the flapper valve in, and I knew that there wasn't going to be any flood, that the flapper valve was working, unless the tide was over 7 feet. Because at 5 feet, it's at the street level, and that's when you use the phone. Over 7 feet, then you might get a flood. I can tell you now that the flapper valve on the corner of Arizona and Park is not working. Why? Because the street floods every time there's a high tide.
And did you?
And the water is coming up through the drains. The storm drains. Causing corrosion on the streets, causing corrosion in the sewer main because the water goes in the street, goes in the holes, and goes into the sewers.
Okay. So again, my question is, did you report this?
Well, I've been talking about it, they've been talking about doing it, and it was brought up tonight, I'm bringing it up right now.
So if you can just send us also an official statement, just to give a report that we have, because we need to track how many people have this situation. If people only talk about it.
He told me he knows what they are, they inspected them all, they know
I'm
that.
not saying that, I'm just saying that we need to also know, so that when you come forward, we can follow up, all right?
Right,
So make
okay,
sure
so
to
I'll
follow.
send something.
Thank you very much. I think it's Bayless Suter, did I pronounce that correct?
Yes, you did pronounce that correct. Mine is sugar. So I wanted to point out something about the water, but I just wanted to say before I mention that there's a lot of things going on here that I second all the residents behind me, everything that they mentioned, that it's really sad that the council feels like they really don't listen to their residents when they come up with incredibly great ideas. I'm not even gonna mention that the lady that said that the car speed on Walnut and my street too, this year alone, I called the police this summer alone 3 times because I almost got run over on my street on West Broadway. Signs are not gonna change that fact. Also, it doesn't, our credit rating is horrible, we don't even know how much we're spending yet we're voting on it, like, it's just completely out of control. And the residents have the answer, and it's just really sad because we voted for you to represent us, and it's just so simple, but you have a huge transparency problem. And I love how Mr. Miranda loves to mansplain things away to us all the time, but nothing is like really official, because even if it was official, we can't get FOIL requests, in because you deny all the requests for the official information. And I do want to point out that I really appreciate you, the social media interaction, because that's a really big part of communication nowadays, so I do appreciate that. So
So just
I wanted to point out,
clarification, and I'll keep your time. You said something about a FOIL request, you FOIL for information. I just want to make the
Yes.
distinction between Ms. Miranda's office and.
yes, I did FOIL, it got partially denied. I got an email that was 2 pages of blocks of black because the entire thing was redacted.
So we'll follow up with you after this. Go ahead.
That'd be great, and yeah, so it's, it's important to get, answers and official answers, and also the runaround people have been getting from the city, Department of Public Works regarding on these signs and the water. That's the same thing we got regarding the issue that I'm talking about, which is the water meeting that we had, the E. coli scare, and I want to know, what's the timeline to replace our 2 towers? We're still with brown water. Our chlorine levels are lower now. We still don't know the source of the E. coli, so because the chlorine levels are lower, this could happen again, and we have no idea if it will happen again. So I want to know the timeline on the replacement of the towers. And I just tagged you in a post on Facebook that you're on a group that you are part of, Long Beach and White Water Quality. 13 hours ago, a gentleman named Jeff Rosner posted his Brita filter, which is, it's the brown water, it's the color of this thing right here, this wood. And after the Brita filter is completely clear, the color of that flag, the white part of the American flag. So I just want you to see that, and that, I don't know how many of you can raise your hands who still have brown water coming out from their taps and showers. But ever since the E. coli scare, I get water deliveries. I'm spending a fortune on water, and I have a water filter on my shower. And I want to know what's being done in regards to our water infrastructure and the timeline on correcting that.
Okay, so we're gonna speak to the towers, but in the meantime, again, thank you for tagging me in that, and then I get home at some point, I will respond to people within that group, just to remind them that it's so important that you also report this.
We do,
No, that's
Ms.
fine, I'm not
Moore.
saying
We
it's not.
do.
Hold on, let me finish.
We do.
What I'm saying is, it's important that you do that, because we need to track how many times you and so many other people have actually moved forward with making a complaint. We have to keep that, we want to hold people accountable. And it's my understanding in my conversations with the commissioner, that they are actually keeping that list, and they're doing their best to go over that list, to make sure that we address those issues. So I need the people who are within that group, and I will send them a message to keep doing it, so we can look at it to see if some progress is being made. We're not saying that you haven't, because we know that you have, but we want to make sure that there are some people who are on that list that can be counted, because this is about data. We do need data, because obviously you were a part of that forum, I was a part of that forum. There were a lot of women who came up and said, this is what's happening, but without the data, it was just a group of women saying, this is what's happening. So what we're saying is, we're going to take our steps here in the city of Long Beach. That forum was sponsored by our senator, but this is what we can do. We can take action as a community and as a municipality to say, these are the things that we're doing. We want to be able to give a report back to the community to say, look, there were 700 people who called in. There were 500 people that we were able to address, so that we have something and that we can build from that. All right? This time we'll hear from Ms. Miranda, and then we'll move on to Michael Dory. Thank you.
Just a couple of things. On the water tanks, we have the design work going on to take down the standpipe this year. We have granted for the state fund for the Water Infrastructure Improvement Act. Hopefully we'll get about $3 million, and we have had preliminary design plan already approved for the new tank. Once we cut it next year, we'll be doing design documents to go out to bid. We hope that tank will be in service by 2021. I don't believe the tanks have anything to do with this colored water. but they do need to be replaced with more storage and a new tank, just based on the maintenance of how the condition of the existing tanks and how old they are.
Okay, and I think also it's important that people who have these concerns to understand that the tank itself is not going to solve the groundwater situation. We have a lot of antiquated pipes, but we have to address that as a city. We're not gonna be able to resolve that issue tonight.
Just like to comment on a couple things about this whole water. Listening to the people during that meeting, it's obvious that people try to, think that this whole water will cause the E. coli outbreak. It did not.
Nobody said
That,
Some people did, so let them have the floor. Okay,
No,
let them have
some
the floor.
people do confuse that, with that, but did hear a lot of complaints about this cold water, so we started a walk up in the DPW office, and we started investigating each one of this cold water complaints at the time they came in. Several of them we found out were because there was hydrants being used in the area by contractors. Once you open up a flow, you reverse the flow, it creates disturbance in the main, and some of the percolation that's on the older line cast mains, it breaks off. We are looking at some different treatment options to stabilize the water. There's an indice called the Langmuir Index. When the Langmuir Index is slightly negative, it tends to corrode items off the pipe. When the Langmuir Index is slightly positive, it tends to deposit and coat the pipes. In reviewing the history, somewhere along the line, when they would run a pH of about 8, they decided years ago to lower it to 7.6. Trying to find out why they made that decision. But we're looking to raise the pH of the treated water back to 8. This will start to put more of a coating again on the pipe. In terms of filters, all groundwater, all across Long Island water has many suspended solids in it. And when you filter water, those suspended solids get into the filter, and that's why they're brown. But if you were to drink distilled water, that would be healthy, because now pure water without any solids in it will actually absorb chemicals from your body. So doctors will tell you don't drink distilled water. So those suspended solids are not harmful, but when you filter them, obviously over a period of time, they're going to make the filter look brown. There's various elements in the water that exist naturally in the ground. So you can't always go by the filter, that's some issue.
Okay, so I think, again, we're not going to in any way discredit this issue or devalue what the complaints that you raised. I think it's important for us to form some kind of committee within our city so that we can hear more from the residents. And I will, I guess I'll tag you later this evening to see where we can go from there. But thank you so much, Commissioner.
Just one quick question. I know you said you've been keeping a lot. Have people been calling and giving relatively frequent updates?
Since that meeting, we've had less than 20 calls, and several of them, as I say, were a result of hydrants being used right at that time. We went out and spoke to the contractors. One of them was the person's water tank failed and left a rust stain on the roof. Obviously, water tanks over time will have rust on the bottom.
That's not what happened. Okay, but this is not your
Listen,
time.
I'm not going to answer your question if you accuse me of things like mansplaining and accuse me of lying. I am not going
Okay,
to.
I'm going to call
I
order
am
at
the
this
most honest
time.
person in this room.
No, you're not. Excuse me, that's not how,
That's
not
very
how-
disrespectful
how
to
we-
speak to a resident
Excuse me,
like
no,
that.
no, that's not how we
That's how
handle
you
it. Your
speak to
questions
me.
have been answered, we've taken the time, even if
It's
you
not
disagree,
correct.
hold on, you can respectfully disagree, and at this time, your time is up. Mr. Mike Delory will continue.
I just
Thank you.
wanted to ask you, Ms. Moore, about, in that day, you said the excess iron, you wanted
I did.
a study
Yes,
on excess
I did.
iron. I just want to know
We
what's going on
We
with
will
that.
continue with that, and that's why I said we need to have a community discussion. Thank you.
But Mr.
No, your
Moreno,
time is
very
up now.
disrespectful.
I am, your time is up, I disagree. Mr. Mike Delory.
Disrespectful to me.
Okay, well, we're not gonna continue that conversation at this time, because we have several other people who need to be heard. And if you cannot remain quiet, then we will have to ask you to leave. Mr. Delory.
Good evening, council members. Michael Delory, Long Beach, New York. I don't know if it was mentioned this evening, Scott Kevin, his father passed away.
It was mentioned,
Well,
I
thank
did
you.
mention.
As far as Commissioner Miranda goes, I mean, I would like to clone him and have him work 3 different jobs in this city, because he is the only one that seems to answer everybody's questions in a respectful manner. No disrespect to the former speaker. that up, and I'm very appreciative of Mr. Mirando's knowledge and expertise and the way he delivers his conversation. Now, there's no way I can limit this conversation in 3 minutes, so I'm going to do my best. Is the attorney Capizzolo still employed by the city of Long Beach?
Is he still the outside counsel?
Yes.
Yes.
At $450 an hour?
The retainer agreement hasn't changed.
Who signed the retainer agreement?
Then acting city manager, Tag.
Does it have to be renewed by or reconfirmed by the current acting city manager? In other words, the acting city manager can be signed.
There's, the retainer's still in effect.
Does it terminate at any point?
Whenever we stop asking them to provide legal services.
Who's waiting?
The city.
The city being the council?
No.
The corporation council?
The city, yes.
Who is the city?
The city of Long Beach is I'm referring to the executive branch of the city.
I think I'm looking at
This
the
is the
executive
legislative
branch.
branch.
Oh, so the executive branch is just the city manager?
Yeah. And the city administration.
Okay, here's my concern, my confusion now. There are a bunch of authorizations and resolutions authorizing the city manager and the acting city manager to enter into a contract. Tonight, you all heard of resolution authorizing the acting city manager to sign a contract. Am I wrong? So don't you need a resolution to authorize to enter into a contract for X, Y, or Z? Now, you're both attorneys, I'm not, but I'm just following the rule. Okay. And here's my last point, because I know that buzz is going to win. I've dealt with controllers' reports. I've had to respond to controllers' reports. I've had to conduct the details of that and the response with my current mayor and board. You're telling me that my taxpayer dollars are being paid for by an attorney hired by a former acting city manager at $450 an hour to defend what's in the report I don't know, who's going to reply to this report. It's an attorney who doesn't even know what's going on here. I mean, I don't like holding the Herald newspapers, but Kaminsky calls for a payout vote. That was over a year ago. Council former President Aramo said, it's too much money. And if you don't believe me, I'll give you the article with the quote. How much do I have to do here? Seriously, I don't want to get annoyed, but I feel like I am being, me personally, and maybe other people, and I don't know how many people are still here listening to this, but, okay, sorry. I would have, let me just summarize it in this
Okay,
way.
give us a summation.
Okay. According to Newsday, he was engaged in May of 2018. Then President Councilman Aramo had said in July, and I imagine it's quoted accurately, and please forgive me if it's misquoted, that it's too expensive. So, if it's too expensive, it's $450 an hour, what is going on? Is somebody not giving accurate information internally here? I mean, Councilman Aramo, I think you really owe an apology. Well, you were quoted as saying,
Yeah, for us to run our own investigation, I believe it would have been.
no.
Okay, so, can
For
you,
you to
can you find a question,
conduct
please?
your own legal counsel.
I had nothing to do with hiring counsel.
I know that, but isn't it, you
Capizolo is, as far as I understand, I've spoken to the man, his only role is to protect the interest of the city, not any one employee, not any one individual person, whether former employee or current employee. His only role is to protect the interest of the city while going through this audit with both the comptroller and the district attorney. That's as I understand.
All right, thank you.
My last recommendation, Council President Moore, is I would seriously ask for an extension of time to respond to this draft audit and have that response given by a new acting city manager.
All
Thank you.
right, thank you.
Wait.
Jaquetta Odom.
Wait, before you leave, who is directing the response to the comptroller's audit?
Mr. Capitolis.
Okay, so since you brought up the executive branch and the legislative branch of the city, will that response be put in front of the council for approval before it's submitted?
The council is free to meet with the comptroller. It's going to be the city's response, and the city manager is responsible for that response.
Okay, so.
The response is
city-
not-
The city manager, Northern Corporation Council Office sets city policy. The city council sets city policy. You implement the city council's policy. So Mr. Capizzolo responding on behalf of the city manager is not the city's position. That is the city manager's position, but not the city's position. And just to be clear, I'll put it out there. I contacted the state comptroller's office and talked to the investigators. And I made it clear to them that anything that comes from the city that wasn't approved by council first should be considered to be the opinion of the city manager alone, or Mr. Capizzolo alone, or whatever, if it's not approved by the council. Because it's the council that sets policy, not the staff.
Just for a point of clarification, and you can sit down, Mr. Flory. For a point of clarification, is it my understanding that when this report, in terms of the draft report, that the council will have the opportunity to respond to that report and to actually submit our own comments with respect to the report itself?
You have to ask the comptroller's office. I'm not sure what their procedures are.
Okay, all right, thank you. Good evening, Ms. Odom.
Jaquetta
State your
Odom,
name for the record.
Long Beach, concerned citizens, North Park. I have two issues tonight that I'd like to address. The first issue has to do with, it's been brought to my attention over on East Pine Street, the second block, in the back of Pine Town housing. There has been numerous of mattresses that has been sitting there for a long time, and the residents have been asking for those mattresses to be removed. They are eyesore, and plus they have a very bad smell. The people that live in the complex there are not able to open up their windows to get fresh air. And I'm asking tonight that the city council please look into this and maybe something can be done about this.
Are those the ones in that lot?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. And it rained on them, and they have a very bad smell, they're very hard to move and whatever. I don't know why they just keep laying there. I'm quite sure every household in Long Beach must have a mattress laying over there.
All right, we will follow up with that.
Okay, my second issue for tonight is the Honorable Lisa Moore has been accused of working solo on one of the issues of the city, which is so many residents are calling for immediate dismissal of our acting city manager. The question, how can the acting city manager be a part of the problem and a part of the solution? The council as a whole agreed and met on this issue. It has been stated that the president of the city council, Anissa Moore, after meeting with the whole council, went and met with the acting city manager without other council members. It read, if you read the post from Anissa Moore, it states, I did not make any decisions or took any action on this issue by myself. A statement, Robert Agostisi, will resign. His last day for active city manager position will be October the 1st. Many distasteful postings has appeared on social media. What are people trying to do to Ms. Moore? Put her into a fragile emotional state. Maybe Anissa can take on the legacy of a tough goddess who transforms her enemies into sound-minded and productive people. I'm Anissa Moore. I say to you, like a Timex watch, take the licking and keep on ticking. Sister Moore, hold your head up high. God is always stronger than man. Continue to be transparent and work closer with your council members and move the city forward so that we would have a better city to live in. Running the house?
Good evening, Ryan Reynolds, City of Long Beach. Well, I thank you all for mostly answering most of my questions. So I guess I'll ask this, how many council persons does it take to make the city run? And where is Mr. Mandel tonight?
Unfortunately, he's not here this evening. He's actually engaged in training, with his job, and that's why he's not here, professional development.
Charter question. So, maybe me and Mr. Ellis will have a conversation. Does any council person's vote or position outweigh another?
No, it's 3 members of the council. You don't have to, the council acts by resolution, motion, or ordinance in the context of a public meeting like we're at right now.
Resolution, motion, or ordinance. Can a council person just fire an employee?
No.
No. So resolutions happen here in this form, and so do motions.
Hiring and firing is a little bit different. The city council has authority to hire and fire the city manager, and then the city manager exercises supervision over the remaining employees on staff.
How does an item get on the council agenda?
The city manager places it there, or believe that there's a request from 3 council members to the city manager will place that item on the agenda.
Any council member can put something on.
But you have to have 3 people to approve.
So, let's just say we wanted an ice cream truck on Park Avenue somewhere, and you wanted to do that. 2 other council persons would have to approve that for that to come to this meeting tonight.
It has to be a majority, but usually it's supposed to be all the consent of the body. But in this particular situation, you need 3 people, at least a majority, to move forward with it. I can send an email out tomorrow about the ice cream. I'm just one person. But if 2 other people respond to that same email saying, yes, they're in support of my idea, then the city manager can move that forward. The issue at hand was the fact that before everything went south, there were 3 members of the council who tried to move a resolution forward, and that request was denied by the acting city manager.
Could said council members have consulted their other council member body and got a third to consent to that meeting, or no?
I can't confirm or deny that statement. I don't know.
There might be confusing 2 things. A special meeting can be called by the president, the vice president, or any 3 council members that agree. Resolutions are the city manager or any council member can put the resolution on it as well.
Why was Councilmember Diamond and Councilmember Brown not a part of whatever the breakfast or whatever the gossip is? What was happening? They were not invited.
I can't speak to that. I can't speak to it.
I love breakfast. Councilmember Brown, I need a stop sign on Long Beach Road and Shore Road. We discussed this and it needs to happen, although we know the sign's not gonna stop the speeding around the corner.
We approved for that sign. We did, we voted on it.
There's no stop sign.
Okay, so you need to send us a message stating that, because the last time you were here several years ago, we
Yeah.
voted on that. It's a resolution, actually, all of us were a part of that resolution, so just please send us an email, and we will follow up on that, because it was approved by the council.
And I guess this will be probably my last question. If a council person is not here, consistently, you still do get your stipend, whatever that money is, regardless of whether you're present or not, correct?
You speak to stipend?
The money, the salaries,
Yes, the
still
salary,
get
that's
paid.
not stipend.
All right, well, you have a wonderful evening. We need you to work and play nice together, please. I look forward to, I like discussion and debate, which has happened here tonight, and I appreciate it. I think you can do a little more, but I ask for a lot from people sometimes, so maybe it's just me. But we do have some pressing issues that very much so need to be addressed, and I don't want to get into discussions of trite conversations on Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's hear from Jay Lester.
Jay Gus Long Beach. This is kind of disjointed because a lot of stuff going on here tonight. I'm just one here. I'm gonna again ask, you know, interfere, interrupt me. If you choose to respond, please hold it till the end, or if you see fit to respond during my comments, please stop the clock. How much have we paid to Anthony Capizzola to date? Have any council members, were any council members aware of the hiring of Mr. Capizzola in real time? And when did they become aware of his hire? And again, I apologize to people of that order, but I want to know if there are rules of quorum regarding the work sessions. And if there are, I think you guys should work that out before the 24th. The other thing is with Mr. Capizzola submitting the city's answer, if you want to call it that, I view that as Mr. Capizzola usurping the authority of the city, and it would be, in my view, an abdication of the city managers and the council's responsibility to submit that answer by allowing outside counsel to do it. Again, can the city manager block or deny an item from the agenda? Apparently, I've heard twice now that he did just that. And if so, how and on what authority? The city manager serves the council, not the other way around. If you guys let him do that, you should have fired. I'm also looking for a little bit of clarification on this Moore's clarification of her comments as set forth in her opening tonight. Did you, Ms. Moore, sign an agreement with Ingram Smith? Was there a meeting agreed to for Tuesday morning at 7:30, a special meeting? I didn't get that answer. Did you agree to that meeting? And what happened to change your mind on it? Why did you pull your support for that meeting? Your report did not explain, at least not to my satisfaction, why you no longer feel that we need independent, or that the council needs independent outside counsel right now. If you could explain why we can wait and perhaps tell us what the source of your knowledge is, if that is a decision made in reliance on Mr. Agostini, who was hired from Mr. Capizzola. And if you're comfortable relying on their recommendations, well, then you're comfortable. I would think it's a poor decision. You also said that after Mr. Agostini's agreement was produced to you, that he would have to resign. Why not fire? He was told to produce it a long time ago. He was insubordinate. Insubordination is a fireable offense. Why not fire him immediately or at the earliest possible opportunity, which was the already agreed to Tuesday at 7:30 in the morning meeting? There was no reason to call off that meeting. You should have went forward with it. Mr. Agostini walked in the door and handed you his resignation letter at that point in time, then you canceled the meeting. And also, at what point in time on Monday did you learn of Mr. Agostini's resignation? And I believe you might have said that was via email, but I'm curious to know what the time was. And also, just to follow up on Mary Ball Savage's comment. You talked about the council president not carrying, their vote not carrying any more weight than any other member. That's true. Now, I don't think anybody here was suggesting that your vote carries more weight. You are but one of three. And at that point in time, there were 3 votes that were committed to taking a certain course of action. You denied you made a decision, but you did make a decision. And you denied you took action, but you did take action. You decided to pull your support for going forward with that meeting. And I really am struggling to understand why. I don't think that you've done anything or said anything to make me understand your actions better. So I'd be certainly willing to hear, if you can expand upon your reasoning, I'd be all ears.
Have you finished all your questions?
Yes, I'm-
All right, so let's go with the payment of Capizolo and the hiring of Capizolo. You can handle those two. When did we become aware? I can only speak for myself. I didn't become aware until the actual report was released and people started asking questions with respect to who is Capizolo. That was not a part of my conversation. I didn't have any communication with the city administration in terms of his presence or his ability to act or to speak on behalf of the city. So I can only speak to that. In terms of the rules of form, no, there is no form for this because there is no formal agenda for the work session. So that means that if 2 people from the council show up, that's fine. We're having a conversation, that information will be shared with the remainder of the council. I do also, yes, I did call for the special meeting, the 7:30 a.m. meeting. I did call for that meeting. At the time, I was in support of that meeting. No one came to me and had a conversation. I wasn't threatened in any way to make a decision. My decision was not to make the city fall into a place where we did not have independent counsel. As stated earlier, I still support that. I'm just not at this time supporting the council that we had initially gone with, the Breakfast Club, that meeting.
So you're you're still still supporting independent council, just not that particular.
That's all. That's the only difference here. We still have to do that because we have to move forward and we need to make a statement and also we need to protect the city and the residents. So we're still saying that it's just the particular firm that was chosen later in that afternoon. I just realized that at this time, for me personally, I did not feel comfortable with that. I don't want to say too much about it because some of us have relationship with that firm, and I'll just leave it like that. In terms of the resignation, like I said, I was here after 3 o'clock. I picked up the separation payment agreement. I didn't even open it because I assumed that I was going to have a meeting or have a conversation with everyone else about it. I did scan it, I did send it to the other council members, but it was not until that evening when he sent out the resignation email that I had official word that he was going to resign on October 1st. So I didn't have any new information or have information before the rest of the council. We all received the same information.
So just to
He
clarify.
sent an actual email that said, I believe the title of that email was The Party, and that was it. And we all received that message.
So you did not know earlier in the afternoon that Mr. Agostini intended to resign?
No.
Or sometime prior to, let's say, 5 o'clock?
No, not at all, because I just received the paperwork and my gut was saying, this is probably what it means. But I couldn't say that and I didn't tell anybody because I didn't have the information. Okay? But there were 2 other questions, and we can get some answers to those.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gus.
The hiring of Mr. Capizolo, when? I think that was the question, when?
No, I think we've covered that. I want to know how much you received to date.
Okay.
And I more generally, as a council member, as an individual, when they became aware of this hire.
I don't have a running tally of his invoices. At one point, I calculated it because a member of the council asked it. To be frank, I don't recall how much.
Yeah, this has been asked before. How did we be here and still not have this number?
No,
Are you guys embarrassed of this?
No, the council asked for it, and I provided it to the council. I just can't recall what the specific number
As
was.
of a couple of weeks ago, 92,500.
92,000.
All right.
But we couldn't afford our own oil.
All right, thank you, Mr. Guston. James Hodge.
James Hodge, 95 East Stone Street, Long Beach, New York.
Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair, and to the Vice Chair and the council members. And I just want to, again, thank you, Anthony, for making the vote of helping with history, nominating Anissa. Again, a lot of people supported, and, I'm really here to show my support for you, Madam Chair, and the council, because we did make a historic vote, and then I saw a lot of stuff just because some people may have felt like because they voted with you or for you, or maybe they're a friend, that now they should be able to dictate or tell you everything that you should do. I pray that we continue to be transparent, right? And you have every right to decide if you're with someone and then 5 minutes later decide if you're not with them. That's your right to do that. Nobody can dictate to you whether you woke up Monday morning after Friday, why did you decide? They can say whatever they want, like I'm saying right now. But you are a council member like everyone else, and you know what? If 5 members would have been at that breakfast meeting, then maybe it would have been 3. And I say, like some of the things that we said was going on before, and what Anthony or Diamond was doing, make sure everybody knows. Because if they decide no, yeah, as long as it's 3, and it can go either way, whether they're forward or not, I say let us, Bendo, like they said before, it was only 3. You could have called Diamond, you could have called Duramo. So as much as people want to say, Anissa, you're at fault, you could have called them to get some eggs and cheese too. Everybody is at fault. So let's not sit here and say on Facebook, oh, we were only concerned about her story. We were only concerned about her being African American and black. I saw her, and that's offensive to me. And all the mumbling in the back, you can continue mumbling, okay? But the fact of the matter is that you will get more scrutiny and scrutiny that others don't have, because sometimes it will come to you because of your color. And I don't care what somebody said, at the end of the day, it needs to be transparent. Everything that you're doing, you're going to get scrutiny. Yes, you're going to get people that come against you because of the position that you hold. And everyone should be able to speak their mind. But I'm going to tell you that I'm supporting you, and I'm thinking about who the next 2 will be. But that's whoever supports my community in the whole city of Long Beach. And if you ain't coming in and supporting my community and a lot of the platform that I deal with and face in North Park, you ain't getting my vote. Okay, so again, I'm here to support you, and I want to make that clear. Just like people say that it was only 3 at the meeting, well, it should have been all 5. All right, I support you, and I support all of you. When you do what's right, when you do what's wrong, then we need to say what we need to say. God bless you. I'm praying for all of you to continue doing what's right.
Before, thank you. Before we leave tonight, we just want to remind you that we're not going to see you before the holiday. So on behalf of the City Council, we just want to extend a happy and healthy new year to all of our Jewish neighbors and friends. With that, have a good evening.